Oh, well, it's been a hot minute since we fucking actually got together and recorded something. I know we tried one a couple weeks ago, and not gonna lie to you, it was total shit. That may come out on the Lost Files later on. Oh yeah, Chris just saw the. I guess you haven't seen the tattoo since I got it done.
No, you said sweaty or hot, and then I looked over and I saw you in a tank.
Saw me in the tank top,
and then your guns. Obviously, you're
got the, you know.
Like you're gonna have to register with the Liberal Party of Canada with those things.
Right. Lethal weapons.
Lethal weapons.
So yeah, no, I was just Chris just noticing the tattoo I had done. Back end of January, I think it was actually.
Cool.
But I mean, it's winter, right? So we're wearing long sleeves. You never see it.
Yeah, right.
So it was that's the caricature that Chris drew up for me on spec. And
how long did it take? How many hours in the chair?
Oh, more than I wanted it to. It was
like 10.
It was like double what I expected it to cost.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
I was about 2 hours for the outline and the shading. And I think we're about another hour and a half to 2 hours for the coloring.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad.
It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it's not bad. Okay.
It was long enough, but yeah, it cost more than I expected. But
like price wise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I'm happy with it.
Yeah, the thing is,
good art isn't cheap.
Well, you don't want like, hey, I can do a tattoo for you for.
Well, exactly.
I can do that for $50. It's like, yeah.
There's a reason why it's $50.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, no. In a way with tattoos, it should just be like, it is what it is, price wise. Based on like, is this person good or not?
Yeah.
And that's it. That should be like,
and most of the artists are like that. They're like, I charge $100 an hour or $160 an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
And, depending on how good they are, it's worth it or it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I had this done, shout out to Britt at Nine World Tattoos.
Okay, where's is that?
That's in Regina on Dudney there.
Yeah,
just north of the Value Village there.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, no, it was great studio. They got 3 or 4 artists in there. So
cool. Yeah.
So I was happy. She did some little tweaks and changes and stuff like that. But
yeah.
I mean, she stayed pretty.
Well, you have to like adapt it to your skin.
Yeah,
and to like the way the form. Yeah, it's a weird thing.
To the artist's style is what how they move. Right?
Well, yeah,
there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, like
mechanics in there.
Yeah, and like what? Yeah, you want them to do the best work that they can do, so let them do that.
Yeah,
and if that involves tweak and then tweak it because make it look. Yeah, you're the final person.
Yeah, but I was just happy because a lot of artists they don't want to do another artist's work, right? They want to put their own spin on it.
Yeah.
Whereas she was like, she kept it really
cool,
accurate to the original drawing. So
cool. Yeah, it's a strange world. The whole tattoo thing. That's, yeah, but it can be also a lucrative world too at the same time.
It can, yeah. If you're talented, well, it's like any artist, right? If you're a talented artist, you can make decent coin what you're doing.
Yeah, I suppose
you're just using a different medium, versus digital or paper or whatever. It's just on skin instead.
Yeah. You have to get used to looking at people's flesh.
And maybe flesh in areas where you're like, I don't want to be there.
Just got to look at a lot of flesh.
Puts the lotion on its skin.
Or it gets the ink again.
Crazy.
So yeah, no, I was really happy with it. And then Tilly and Pam got matching ones done.
Oh, okay.
Just little ones, right?
Yeah, well, no, they're decent. They're, I don't know, probably about 4 inches on the forearm. Oh. And then, like the width of their forearms, like they got small forearms, but.
Does Tilly have, Tilly's got tattoos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I have one and it seems impossible to just have one.
Oh, it is.
Because it's like, well, super, okay, what's next? It's that. It's
super addictive.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, do you just build around it? That kind of thing too.
Right?
Because that's tempting. To
like, do you want the whole
might as well build
going on with something?
Yeah.
Or
do you make a sleeve out of it?
Random things, or
because it's like, well, I could just make this into a sleeve.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. And it's like, yeah, but what about when you're older? And what does that look like when you're older? And it's like, oh no, when you're older, it looks fucking cool.
It's just cool as fuck.
Yeah. What about the inside flabbier part of your arm?
Yeah. Oh, the underside. When I had my forearm one done, it was great until I got to the very bottom of my arm.
That's sensitive.
And calf. I'm thinking when I had my calf one, I'm like, oh well, it's a calf, right? Nice and meaty. That'd be no. Right. No, it was freaking terrible.
I heard like inside ribs are really rough.
That's where Leslie wants to get her first one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She wants to get ripped. She's like, I'm just jumping right in. Just get the worst one to start.
she'll have a line.
Yeah.
And we're done.
Yeah, mine's like on my shoulder, and I was, first tattoo. Oh Jesus! I wonder if I could take it. Totally fine. It was nothing. I kind of got a kick out of the sensation of it.
Yeah.
Oh, the tattoo high.
Yeah, I kind of loved it. I was like, oh, this feels kind of cool, and I was so. Like I basically passed out, like from being just relaxed.
Like just almost go to sleep. Yeah,
I was so relaxed and just kind of like
yeah,
out of it. So
Tilly's like that too.
Didn't hurt
She
at
just like the pain. It just like I don't know if it blocks that part of your mind that never shuts up or something.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden she just like relaxes, zones out, and
it's like meditative. In
Yeah.
a weird
Or
way.
the fact that she's always in pain, so those
Well, that
receptors
could
are
be
dull as shit.
Yeah, right.
they just don't notice anymore.
Yeah. Just a level 1 pain is actually therapeutic and relaxing. So
How old were you when you got your first one?
Oh, this was like 4 years ago.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it was like kind of recent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's fairly new. Well, maybe 5 years. Yeah, 5 years ago, I guess. Yeah.
Pre-COVID or post-COVID?
Pre.
Oh, so
Pre,
at least 5.
Yeah. I was leaving Germany, and I was like, okay, you know what? I always I should get like a send-off thing before I go, and got it there. And it was cool. Maybe part of the reason too is that she didn't really speak any English, so there wasn't any chattiness going on.
She's just working.
In
I don't think.
the zone.
Yeah, she didn't speak any German either. So I think she was from like Poland, maybe, or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All I knew is that she did tattoos for the one guy from Korn.
Okay.
And it's like, okay. And,
Well,
and
I mean,
I liked her line quality, and I'm like, okay, this person's perfect. I'll get her to do it. So yeah, she kind of slipped me in and did it. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
that's the biggest thing is finding someone that can do like that fine line work.
Yeah.
Like if you take a look at Tilly's new one, like it's like pen thickness lines.
I
it's
see that.
amazing. It looks so sharp.
I see that now with there's some kind of leap that happened over the last few years, and now it's like this hair thin, fine type thing, and it's like mine's a bit mushy, which is fine. I'm okay with it, but yeah, it's
one style that I've seen that I thought was just crazy impressive. Not that I would get it done, but it's where they do like cross stitch. So they do a tattoo.
I've seen those.
That looks like a cross stitch emblem.
Yeah, it's
And it's like the weirdest thing. It looks 3D on your skin.
It's like embroidery, like a logo on a hat where it's embroidered in.
Yeah.
They do that, and it looks like a freaking
patch. Cool.
On your arm.
Yeah. I guess if you do the 3D, you kind of add highlights and that like shadowy stuff.
Yeah, and I've seen some really cool ones too, where they look like a sticker that's kind of peeling off. They got the shadowing under there and everything.
Yeah.
There's some amazing artists out there.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing of like, what do you want to live with, But but also, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Not that I would want that style on my body, but appreciating the art and the technique and talk about fine lines.
Well, what he just showed me was a picture of a butterfly, a brightly colored rainbowish butterfly. So I think you should get it specifically as a tramp stamp.
Ah, yes.
Right on the right butt cheek.
So it covers a lot of surface area there.
Specifically, ass antler. Oh, yeah, cool.
Where you can even see the threads, like where they've made like fake threads that are not
it looks
in
like
place.
like it hasn't been trimmed yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some cool shit out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. I got my first one done. I was 18, and it was in the kitchen of my apartment in Calgary.
And they used a Bic.
No, it was. I can't remember if it was
style.
my girlfriend at the time or her friend or something. Worked with this guy that did tattoos.
Right.
So we're like, oh yeah, we should get tattoos. He's like, well, he doesn't have a studio. He'll just like come over to your house, and we're like, yeah, fucking bring him over, grab a case of beer and get some tattoos done.
Yeah. You can just spit on it, clean it off, and go to work.
He was really professional, but like he had all clean stuff on, masked everything and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was weird because you're just sitting at the kitchen table drinking a beer and he's fucking tattooing. And it's always the shoulder. Everybody gets their first one on the shoulder.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think also too, it's a pain. It's I mean, it might be a pain thing, but it's also kind of the go-to thing that your brain goes to.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. Where do you get tattooed?
Where do
Oh,
you
you get it on your shoulder.
On your shoulder. Yeah.
See, I don't have any tattoos, but my first thought of where I would get one would be like a big one across my back. I don't know why.
Just go for a full back
Just
tease.
like, full out back tattoo.
Yeah.
Cover probably about like 2 or 3 square feet. You got a big back, so.
You're talking about the pain of it, and that brings up a couple things. Like, I know the guy that did our tattoo, my first one, right? He was like fully covered, full sleeves, worked in like an office building. So his tattoos cut off about 2 inches shy of his wrist on both sides. So he could wear a dress shirt. You couldn't tell he had tattoos, everything like that. Full back, legs. His chest was clean, except for one little 1/4 inch line. And he went in, he had a buddy. He's like, yeah, I should start getting a chest tattoo. And he did that first 1/4 inch. He's like, nope, fuck that.
Too painful.
Too painful. He's got him fucking everywhere else.
But not on his chest.
But could not get him on his chest.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I don't really want to talk about it online because I don't want
The world.
people to get in trouble
Right.
for what happened. But the best way I can equate what happened to me yesterday is that the pain is equivalent to a tattoo. So it jumped in my mind because I was telling the wife about what happened, and but I got tased basically.
Oh, okay. All right.
Was it below or above the belt?
Lower back. And I was trying to describe what the pain was like, and then it just, when we're talking about tattoos, I'm like, that's what it feels like. It's like that heat with the pain.
Okay.
And that's what it feels like when you get tased.
Oh, I hope you said don't tase me, bro.
I did afterwards. I totally did. After I called to stop to, what was going on.
So where did you get tased? At lower back?
Yeah. It was the way the situation was, the guy just kind of
Next time, don't mouth off.
natural instinct kicked in. So he went out of the acting in something's phase to this is how it actually happens phase.
Okay.
Like I could see it switch in his head. I could see his eyes changed.
Okay.
I'm like, fuck. And then it was tackle, tase.
So this was kind of this was a training thing, though.
Yeah.
So this is a voluntary thing.
Oh yeah.
You weren't protesting.
No. This was it was a training setup, and there's supposed to be there's things in place so stuff doesn't happen. But I mean,
did you get to play act as a protester?
No.
A just stop.
No, I was just like a shithead that
piece of shit
somewhere I'm not supposed to be kind of thing.
So it hurt though. It had to have hurt.
Yeah, it was. And it was like a solid 3 seconds before it finally.
So enough to make you drop your Antifa flag.
Right. Yeah.
So it was, and I
weren't you worried about having a heart attack?
No, it's weird.
Okay.
It's almost like it's not really a concern.
I'd be like, don't tase me, bro, and don't stop my heart, bro.
But my right arm was like I had fallen asleep on it for like 2 days because it took like 20 minutes before the tingling stopped.
Oh wow.
In my right arm.
Yikes. So tasing is effective.
Tasing is definitely effective. Now, because it was a touch tase, not like with the probes.
Oh, right.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's localized to that area.
Right.
But the reason it's effective isn't because it paralyzes you. It's because it makes your brain go, what the fuck is happening? That hurts.
Okay.
So now you forget about fighting with your hands because you're like, Jesus Christ, what is that? Right? It gives them that
shock,
couple seconds to take control of the situation, right?
It's the OODA loop effect.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You want to explain that one? There's videos on it. Just Google OODA loop. But basically, it's like you'd have Navy SEAL teams that go do breach training, and instead of throwing a grenade into a room, they'd throw a fucking rubber ducky. And it's just because it's the pure psychological of, did I just see a rubber ducky in the room? And as your brain is processing that, the SEAL team breaches the room and fucking neutralizes your ass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and then the flip side of that is where you can get people that they get stuck in that loop, and that's that, they'll be like, drop the gun. And the guy with the gun's like, fuck you. Drop the gun. Fuck you. Drop the gun. Fuck you. Drop the gun. Fuck you. It's like, gets...
yeah, because it's like, well, no, you OODA looped me.
Yeah.
Not my fault.
Yeah.
I'm OODA looped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Have you ever tried those Dr. Ho things?
Yes.
Those relaxing.
I can't find my fucking TENS unit. Yeah.
So what? Have you ever tried that? Yes. Okay. What level? Is there a level of Dr. Ho that's if I because some like
that would be equivalent to that
maxed? Because I can just be like low. Like anything higher up on Dr. Ho is like way too much for me. Like,
yeah,
it's weird.
It's like what happens is what they call a neuromuscular interference. So like the way a taser works, right, is you get a probe down here below your belt. You get a probe up here above the belt, right? In your butt cheek and your shoulder, for example, right? Now what happens is it sends an electrical pulse through there and just interferes all the signals to all those muscles.
Right.
So your body just goes, and it fucking locks up.
Yeah.
So that's why like people get tased and they just fucking fall like a tree.
There's no risk of it becoming a fetish.
No, I wouldn't say there's no risk of it. There's some weird things people are into.
I mean, people will do it just for fun on YouTube. Like I had a TENS unit or Dr. Ho type thing, and I had for my tennis elbow for treating that. And literally, I would play this game where like I'm going to crank up the unit and then try to drink a glass of water. Oh, jeez, it's fucking shocking your arm.
We had a bunch of people over the one night. And Tilly's got one of the little TENS units, right? And we had people over, so we're drinking and hanging out, whatever. And somebody found the TENS unit sitting on the coffee table or wherever the hell it was, right? And they're like, oh, what's that? And Tilly's explaining it. So, so you start, you put it on the leg, right? And your leg's twitching, and you try it on the arm, right? And your arm's fucking twitching. Oh, fuck.
Who put it on their balls?
No, the one guy put him on his face. Here.
Never go full.
He looked like John Kretchen having a stroke, man.
Right. Have you ever been pepper sprayed?
No.
Okay.
No, thankfully I haven't been pepper sprayed. Haven't been tear gassed. They have like a synthetic pepper spray they use in the police colleges and stuff like that, where I do some of the
for training stuff. It's like a toned down kind of.
Yeah, it's just like it's kind of like pepperminty.
Oh, okay.
So like when it's been deployed, but it's not painful. Sort of thing.
You're not washing your eyes out with milk for the next hour.
No, exactly.
Yeah, that sounds not fun. Yeah, all these weird like crowd control type stuff is kind of interesting. Like the audio stuff, like the ones that make you.
That's freakiest.
Yeah, where they like play a frequency and everybody shits
like
their
the
pants.
brown tone.
Yeah.
Well, there's that one, so it'll make you shit. Or there's the other one that basically forces your hands over your ears. It becomes basically like handcuffs.
Yeah,
because it just your natural body reaction is you want to put your hands over.
Yeah,
you
want to filter out that sound. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they were working on that shit in the 90s.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is all like old. By the time we hear about it, they're already on to the next thing that's light years beyond.
Well, just like the stuff they were working on in Cuba. Or the CIA had a building in Cuba. And they were literally making the Canadian embassy. They're giving them like severe headaches and diarrhea and just all this weird kind of shit. Because it was a CIA testing it against the Canadian embassy next door or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I mean, there's those test cities in the States too. Like, I'm sure there's ones here.
Well, they had it in Weyburn Mental Health Facility was where they tested out Project MK Ultra with LSD. On patients.
Yeah. Aldous Huxley hung out there, which is interesting, and
all kinds of
good old way. Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like these weird, these like psychological. Okay. Do you guys know who Darren Brown is? Like
Darren Brown.
DERREN Brown.
Okay.
Speaking of brown tones and psychological manipulation, this guy, he's what would you call him? A mesmerist or a magician?
Like a hypnosis
guy.
He's kind of a mentalist.
A mentalist. Yeah, he's all of these things kind of wrapped into one, and he does a lot of like neurolinguistic programming and this kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so he puts on these shows. He does all kinds of like kind of magic stuff. And I also think that he is part warlock for sure. There's definitely some wizardry stuff going on with him. Like he's an odd duck. But if you look up he does these shows, some of the more recent ones, which are actually quite old now, but they're called The Experiments. And what he'll do is he'll get a group of people together and he'll do social experiments with crowds. Basically, like there's one that he does where he does kind of like a choose your own adventure with the subject. So he takes a guy and he's like, as the crowd, you get to decide whether this guy has something good happen or something bad happen. So this guy wakes up and goes through his day, and at all these little choices, he lets the audience decide what happens to him. And the audience are all wearing masks, so their identity's concealed, so they can be honest and be as demented as crowds are.
Yeah.
And basically, this audience get progressively darker and darker and more twisted. And they push this guy into worse and worse situations. And of course, it's all staged.
Yeah.
Like what they're seeing, they believe that they're watching a reality show. But it gets to the point where they end up cheering on his death. And then they kill him.
That's like Milgram experiment kind of little shit.
So it gets to the point where they're like, this guy actually gets, from what they can perceive, he dies. And then he does this thing where it's like, oh crap, we have to stop the show, like making them
play it up. Yeah.
Play it up. Yeah. And then he basically stops the show and gets everyone to take their mask off and just be like, you guys are awful.
Fucking terrible. Right? Yeah. Or that's like the shock one. So they put a test subject in another room. They first simulate what that shock level as a 1 does on you. Yeah. And then they go and put the other guy in the other room, and you're supposed to increasingly increase the level of shock. And the guy in the other room is like basically screaming like, "Stop! I'm dying! I'm dying!" And the participants keep cranking up the voltage at the instruction of a scientific advisor, right? So here you've got this sort of like leading down the path. People do some terrible shit, right? Yeah. And it's sort of that Nazi type defense policy where it's like, well, we were just following orders. The scientist told me to keep following this and keep shocking the guy.
It's not my fault.
They basically bowed out at a 2 because it was so bad. And here they've cranked it up to 9 or 10. Like, oh.
And okay. he does some stuff going the opposite way too. Like, not everything is this dark, miserable stuff where he's like, he convinces people to confess to a crime that they didn't do. Like he can get them to convince, he can get people convinced that they participated in a murder. And it's this weird malleability of your mind that he kind of gets into. And it's super fascinating. But there's one, for instance, that he does where he takes this guy, and there's a certain amount of scouting and psychological profiling, but he finds a young man who's kind of a schlumpy dude with sort of a schlumpy incel type life. And he arranges this insane series of events for him where he creates the end of the world for this guy, where he stages some sort of cataclysmic event where basically the power's gone out, an asteroid is hit or something like this. Some kind of catastrophic event happens where this guy now goes through his day and becomes a hero. And it completely reprograms his brain at the end of the day, at the end of this experiment.
Yeah.
He pops out the other side just going like, holy shit, I'm capable of extraordinary things.
Wow.
And it's really amazing. It's like, because he goes from a complete like low self-esteem, miserable, sad sack loser, basically. And he comes out the other side and he's like, holy shit, I'm like the hero of my own story.
They give him a glimpse of what he's capable of.
Put in the right situation.
Yeah.
I'm the Mad Max hero of the world, and he discovers this about himself. And then it's that neurolinguistic, this reprogramming, reformatting.
Yeah. So he transferred him from being an NPC to the main character plot.
Exactly. And it's that whole thing of we're all capable of getting a firmware update on our brain.
Yeah. Yeah. We just have to convince our brain to accept that program.
Yeah. But in terms of that malleability, you think about how many potential projects are going on with the FBI and the CIA in the US with, incel type characters and how they can lead those minds to do some dangerous things. Mm-hmm. People would say, oh, it's conspiracy theory and things like that. It's like, I don't know. How do you get, like, for example, Trump's assassinator?
Which one?
Well, pick one, right? And both cases probably very similar. Yeah. You've got somebody who could have never afforded the guns that he had, right? And so obviously being fed by some sort of entity, whether it's a government entity or, whoever wanted to, have a hit out on Trump, but basically can leave a malleable mind to do something absolutely terrible that could have led the world into like World War III. I don't think people realize how close shit was to really going nuclear. Like if Trump would have been assassinated, nobody would have wanted that outcome.
Yeah.
As much as you might hate Trump or not like his policies or not like him as a person.
The last thing you want is a civil war.
You would have absolutely caused a civil war, and it would have been pure pandemonium and chaos had he been assassinated.
And all these people that end up in that situation where lone wolf, blah, 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 blah. They're all somehow known to the FBI or the CIA. They've all been monitored and watched and these, or groomed, or it's like, we were watching this guy for a while, and it's like, well, where did he get these guns from? Well, we gave them to him because we were following him and we were keeping an eye on him because we knew he might try something. And it's like, so you met him in a hotel room and gave him the weapons to do this thing. Well, yeah, because we were keeping an eye. Like, it's all this stuff. And it makes me wonder, like, how much of it, even the terror type stuff, a lot of that, like, I guarantee that like some of it's organic for sure, because it's a loop.
Yeah.
Speaking of, like, it's a wacko, like,
Yeah.
Well, even look at Osama bin Laden. He used to be an operative for the CIA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, the whole thing of whether 9/11 was an inside job.
Yeah.
Either way, Osama bin Laden used to be fucking employed by the CIA to take down the Russians. So there's a connection there at some point.
This is the thing that I don't understand. If you're a naive kid, like you're 16 or something, like, I don't know, you're like a young person, and you're like, okay, fine, go, like, be a commie. It makes sense, this kind of thing, or believe whatever you see. I don't know, but if you've been around long enough and you've, like, okay, you see 9/11, you see all these you see all this stuff, like, there's all this footage of, like, CNN pretending to be in Iraq, and they're basically mocking you as they are on a soundstage, rattling around fake palm trees. Like, they're mocking the audience, and all of this stuff is public. All of it's out there, and to live through all that and to see all that and not be suspicious of shit, you're fucking retarded.
We're the age where we've seen that transition from, and I'm not even going to see respectable journalism in, like, the 80s. Because it was already happening before that.
I mean, Walter Cronkite in the, like, 60s. Late 60s.
But you can, to see that steady progression.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious.
It's so obvious. Yeah. I mean, and to believe it's like, well, they're on the TV, I'm not on. Like, this whole idea of, like, it's on the TV, therefore that
it must be true and accurate.
How can, like, as a boomer, for instance, like, if you're a baby boomer, how the like, give your fucking head a shake. How can you believe everything you see on CTV? Like, what is wrong? What's wrong with your mind?
Well, you look at some of the fake footage that came out around COVID, where you literally saw like people panicking in the streets of China, where they were welding doors closed shut.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, well, none of that came to pass. So, like, what did people think about that, a month into this thing?
Yeah.
Like, there weren't bodies dropping in the streets.
Yeah.
So, what did you not go back and reflect, like, maybe that was fake?
Well, the same thing, right? Where they're showing the scene in Italy, right? With all the bodies laying on the ground under the sheets and stuff like that. That was from a ship that fucking sank, like, 10 years ago.
Yeah. I still talk to people.
This is the exact same footage.
To this day who bring up COVID and are like, well, they survived the pandemic. And it's like, okay, fucking dummy. We all did. Everyone did. Everyone survived the pandemic, you fucking retard.
Yeah.
Like, how can you still swallow all this unless you're just locked into a reality tunnel and you're not coming out? And that to me is so weird.
Because they have to question everything they've thought if they want to challenge what they've seen with their own eyes.
Yeah. And it's so bizarre that you can be an adult in your, you can be 70 years old and you've gone your entire, like, you fucking pretended to watch the moon landing. I'm not going to get into that. But I'm just saying, you thought they fucking drove around in it with a go-kart and they called the president from the moon on the telephone and drank Tang and, like, and you're still waiting to go back. Like, it's like, that's insane. Like, all the, like, how have you missed out on all the sort of the other side of the story that says, hey, maybe this is questionable. Like, it's really weird. And I guess now they just say, oh, that's fake news, or that's dangerous. Watch us, or else you're a disinfo agent.
Yeah,
misinformation.
Yeah, didn't they watch? Like, remember the X-Files? Like, we all used to be allowed to think about crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, that was normal for Gen X.
Where I have concerns going forward, though, is with the advent of AI and video technology. It's not perfect yet.
Yeah.
But there's AI videos out there that I'm like, if it wasn't for my own critical thought process, visually, I can't tell that this is fake.
Yeah.
See, but I have to stop you there, too, just for a quick point, because the technology is there. It's just not available to us yet. So the stuff that's available to us sitting around the table here, like we can access, if you want to pay the couple $100, you can get the software, you can do it. And it's really difficult to tell.
Yeah. Like I've been seeing more and more videos and it's like Elon Musk saying some stupid shit or whatever. And it's like, okay, I know he didn't actually say that, but my goodness, they're making the videos look more and more realistic.
Well, the same thing with that one with Mark Carney saying that all vehicles pre-2020 were going to be phased out.
Completely fake.
But you had to watch that video closely.
Had to look, yes.
There was only like 2, maybe 3 things in that video where you're like, wait a minute, that's not right.
Right. Yeah. And so this is where a logical mind and being able to discern information at a thought process critical level is going to be so critical going forward to be able to maintain a grasp on reality. And that's what I'm truly concerned about, because like I think I have that skill set, but I think about the general population. If they didn't see the fake shit from 9/11, you might want to bring up the moon landing. You know, I think they can go one of a couple of ways on that. But all of the other fake things from COVID that we've seen, okay, well, I caught on to it, but there's millions of people that didn't.
Well, look at just look at the number.
Completely swayed by these.
Look at the number of people online that, you know, in the last 5 years that were just headline sharers. All they read is the headline.
Yeah.
And they share the article.
Yeah.
It's like, did you even fucking read the article?
Yeah.
This actually says the opposite of what you're thinking it says.
Yeah.
And so now you throw in AI video on top of that. Well, fuck. People are going to spread this shit everywhere.
And I think that's like the ultimate, this is the ultimate tool is to, I think it's the point, is to create complete confusion.
To create doubt.
Well, yeah. And I think the best tool that, like, if you are in a position of power, it's a great tool to completely disorient the population on what reality even is. And so you create states of confusion among the population where when nobody can even agree upon reality, then they can't discuss or debate anything because we don't even have a shared reality.
Yeah.
And that is like, that's ultimate, like, control. That's the ultimate state to be in, because you're untouchable now because people can't even agree on what reality is.
Well, and I was watching a little YouTube short, and it was a teacher that was saying, I don't even know that children today can watch a full hour-and-a-half movie. Everything they consume is in short YouTube clips or different videos. But the idea of a mainstream narrative or a common theme that people have all seen similar movies or similar TV shows, that era is gone with the younger generations.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was reflecting on it, basically going like, I don't know how we're going to have a cohesive conversation at a societal level in the future. Right. Like, so maybe, you know, obviously beyond millennials, but in even the next generation after that, but the generation now that are in school and growing up, they're not going to have a common narrative. They're not even going to grow up with the same cartoons that we were when we were growing as kids.
Yeah.
Well, they already don't have conversations.
Yeah.
They sit around and they fucking look at their phones. Oh, look at this short. Look at this reel. Look at, you know, like, here's a 5-second entertainment dopamine dump. You know, give me the next one.
Well, and the power of the algorithm to keep feeding them content that keeps them engaged. I mean, you know, yes, we had scientists that reviewed, you know, the short clips on Sesame Street, and they figured that, okay, kids have a certain attention span of 20 seconds or whatever it was. And so that's why Sesame Street was broken up into those little block segments.
Yeah.
I mean, that was high level. Now that you've got the algorithm that can keep feeding you content, like, these kids are a psychological warfare, and it's manipulating and writing the program.
It is so fast to update itself now too.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, you look at one different thing on your search engine or something like that, where you're just looking, like, you're not even looking to buy or get something. You just want information on something. And then all of a sudden you just ad dumped.
Yeah.
Like 30 seconds later, the algorithm's updated and refreshed all your ads to this new thing that you searched up for like 2 seconds.
Even something as powerful as Facebook Marketplace. So, you know, I'll be looking at trucks. Well, then, you know, I ended up buying a new pickup truck. All of a sudden, all of the things in my Facebook Marketplace are all trucks. And of the type of truck I was looking at, in the price range I was looking at, I didn't enter in that information. It figured it out based on what I was looking at.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's,
like, I mean, it's great. I'm finding great deals on motorbikes now because of that. But
oh man, just the but it's the algorithm knowing you almost better than you know yourself, and feeding you stuff. And it's not even a human behind it anymore. It's just an algorithm. Like I was in meeting, talk, whatever, with a buddy today, and a guy I'm doing stuff with. Anyway, he's like, he has a ridiculous YouTube channel with like a zillion followers. And he was showing me the graph of his growth on his channel. Mm-hmm. And it went to a ridiculous high number. And then it just like, it's this organic wave. It's like a wave that's going up, and it's there's like dips.
Like stock market climb up and down and up. Yep.
Yeah. It dips once in a while, but it's like this ongoing upward arc. And then it just magically hits a point, and then it just goes completely flat.
Just plateaus
for years. And it's like, okay.
They throttled him.
Yeah. You hit a point and they decided, nope, you're going to stay here.
We're going to limit your power.
Yeah. And they will like, you'll get subscribers. You might get like with him, it's like he gets, like 10,000 a month or something added every month, but he'll lose exactly that same amount. And then he'll have people saying, I was unsubscribed.
Yep. I've had that happen on 2 or 3 channels that I follow on YouTube. I'm like, why am I not getting their video updates? Yeah. And then you go in, it's like, oh, you're not subscribed.
And he's not
following this person for 3 fucking years.
Yeah. And he's not spicy at all. He's very family friendly, like neutral, whatever stuff. There's nothing, no hot takes, dangerous stuff in there at all. But they've decided that like, well, no, we want this type of stuff to go forward, and it's just not him. It's this other stuff, which is slop for the most part. It's weird, like brain rot slop, right? Yeah. They want the slop rot for 12-year-old minds because they want that younger generation looped in and whacked. So we're going to turn that off, and then we're just going to like push this. And it's like, it's not even a human, because that's algorithmically controlled by the robots.
Yeah.
So
it is.
So it's weird. It's like everything, like, I don't know how, I think Spotify is probably like that. Like everything's probably like that. Like, you're not throttled necessarily because of your content, although everything is scraped immediately and fed. But like you're throttled just because of that's not the particular type of mind rot that they want right now to push on people.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of, it's weird though. Like, but it means that your entire reality is fed by an algorithm.
Yeah.
And that everybody is growing up differently.
Decentralized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And curated.
Yeah.
It's decentralized it's individual curation for the individual person.
Yeah.
It's just supremely powerful and scary.
But the amazing thing is that it goes away the minute you turn off your screen.
Yes.
And that's the thing. So it's like, okay, we've offloaded our culture, which was a huge mistake, offloading your culture to Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Oops. Shouldn't have done that. And so now it's like, hey, real world. Maybe we could do some real world stuff instead. And because that's actual, like our culture being what's on the radio isn't strong enough.
Well, it was interesting. I just came from a little kid's birthday party, and it was great to see, it was like, 10 or 12 little kids literally running around a farmyard. They're playing on a swing set. They're throwing darts at balloons. They're like just little kids. No, there wasn't a tablet or a screen or anything in sight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was kids just actually engaging and playing and having fun and making up their own games and spitting each other in the swings and climbing on playhouses and just all of this really pure and authentic stuff. And it's one of the reasons that I'm happy that I'm out in a community like this.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a little bit more opportunity to have authentic moments like that for children.
I don't think kids, like young kids, from what I see, they're not as wrapped up in gadgety, phony stuff as much as like boomers.
Yeah.
Boomers are actually worse.
But I think part of that is because boomers and even millennials too, I'll fully admit it, grew up with a TV in front of them.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was a huge part of that cultural narrative that I was talking about, that your culture and your sense of what's going on in the world, you had to watch Saturday Night Live so that when you talk at the water cooler or in the schoolyard, okay, what was the joke that was going on that weekend? Right. Whereas kids today, I think a lot of parents have said, no, we're going to limit screen time. We're going to have these rules in place. So even though, my kids could easily plop themselves down in front of a cell phone or a tablet and could, mindlessly rot hours away, because we have those artificial limits, when they're put into a situation where they can go outside and play and engage with other kids, they immediately can turn on that switch and go.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, sometimes the teenagers, they haven't.
And it happens with younger kids, because we, as parents, we're more aware of what they're doing, right? So we're going to limit screen time and do this and do that and, go outside and play. But as they get older, as they get into their teen years and into high school, you lose a lot of that, parental control. Yeah. And that's when that, degradation starts, right? By the time they're like 15, 16
because
years
it's hard
old,
to enforce. It's easy to tell a 5-year-old, okay, that's it. You got to put the phone down. It's a little more back talking attitude when you tell your 15-year-old that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like our local school, like they implemented a no cell phone policy.
Yeah. Well, that's province wide.
Which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, that was province wide. That was SAS Party that implemented
that. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a great decision, school wide, because that makes them actually focus on what they're doing, right? It pulls their brains away from that. Yeah. Not to say our education system is teaching them what they should know, but topic for another day.
I don't think it's as cool anymore. I feel like with a lot of the hustle, just from what I see because like the algorithms, once they really kicked in over the last few years, they destroyed social media for the most part. Like Instagram's wrecked. Yeah. YouTube is wrecked. All these things are wrecked. And they've ruined the ability for like just what made it great was normal people, organic growth, connecting with people, whatever it is, the social aspect of all that social media. The algorithm has come along and basically just neutered all that. And so many people are just like, I'm out of here. Like everybody that I talk to, like in my world, everyone's just like, yeah, I don't even bother anymore. Like everyone's just punching out. Like nobody gives a shit.
Well, I even noticed that with my own screen time. Before when YouTube didn't have its algorithms, sort of locked down and in place, you would find more random stuff. And so you'd go down this weird YouTube rabbit hole of, I'm going to be looking at cat videos. Yeah. The next thing you look like conspiracy videos. Next thing, how things are made. It would be a variety of subject matter, whereas now the AI algorithm feeds you that same content in maybe different variations. Yeah. And, if you looked up economic policy, well, now it's going to show you 30 videos in economic policy, and you're not going to get the cute cat video that's going to lead you to like platypuses in Australia. It's like,
it used to be a more organic, random growth.
Yeah. I not accidentally, I watched like a hot Korean big-titted girl dancing on TikTok.
Oh, now you get them all.
Maybe once or twice or a few times, or maybe I just watched it for a little while on loop. And now it's like, this guy really likes big titty Korean chicks.
Here's some more.
So guess what I get? That's all I get now is big titty Korean girls. And it's like, I'm not that into it, but it's like, that's all I'm getting.
Like it was entertaining, but
no, yeah. I mean, she's great, but if I wanted that, I would follow it and I would, engage with it somehow. I don't know how you
send some likes, some comments, something.
I'd be like you go into the comments and it's just all Indian dudes saying like show bobs. Show vagine, so vagine, show bobs. But yeah, it's this weird thing where it just feeds me all this, and it's like but that's the thing of like the algorithm getting it wrong, and it actually ruins the experience.
Yeah, it does.
I open up the phone. Yeah, I'm in bed, wife's beside me, and it's like immediately I got big titty Koreans, and it's like, no, trust me, I don't want that.
Smash it on right now. Please don't look at my phone.
I keep saying not interested, but it keeps showing me these titty girls.
It knows you are.
Yeah. So, but I feel like it's fading because everybody's really disheartened with it and disenchanted. And if so many of the content creators are like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Then I don't know. You lose the audience a little bit. Like people will migrate somewhere else. And
I think it's partly you've seen the man behind the curtain, right? So once you've kind of woken up to the fact that, okay, this stuff that I'm seeing is curated. It's no longer naturally organic. You feel manipulated, and so then you don't want to engage on it to the same level.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a defense mechanism of your psychological mind.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, hey, you want to grow on this platform? Why don't you spend 9 hours a day doing that? And it's like, well, because I have things to do.
I have a life.
And it's like, well, no, it's this full-time job to grow on this platform now. And it's like, okay, so now you're going to lose everybody basically who, like, you have to make the content to even put on the thing.
Yeah, the reason you wanted to be a content creator was because you could work like 20 hours a week and be making thousands of dollars. Now, if I got to work 40 to 50 hours a week to be making hundreds of dollars, well, what the fuck is the point?
And it's like, well, no, you have to now make, it's like, oh, so like, let's say Instagram, it was like, well, the icon literally used to be a Polaroid camera because it was picture based. And now it's like, no, we're not doing it anymore. Now you have to do shorts and video to satisfy the algorithm, because now we're trying to compete with TikTok and YouTube or whatever. So now make shorts. So why don't you like just dance or something? And it's like, well, no, I was taking photos.
Yeah.
Now I got to dance.
Yeah.
Now I got to be a big titty Korean girl. I'm not. But you have to behave like it. And oh, by the way, you have to make 2 or 3 of these a day.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, fuck. Okay, well, there goes all the people that were the foundation of this entire thing. Mm-hmm. And now you just have late night drone scroll, whatever you want to call it, doom scroll, whatever.
Well, that's the same thing. Like, even Tim and I have been talking about that with the podcast itself, right? Like, how can we increase listeners and, try and pay for at least this equipment or something, right? Yeah. And the only answer is fucking shorts. Doing shorts, doing video, instead of doing a podcast where it's like an audio recording. Yeah. Well, now we got to consider, do we got to put fucking cameras up? Do we got to start video recording? Do we got to put it on YouTube? Do we got to cut shorts out of that stuff? And according to the algorithm, that's what we have to do. Yeah. Well, fuck me. That's a lot of work.
And see, this is where it all gets weird, because, well, if you need to know what to do, just ask Grok. And it'll fucking tell you exactly.
Write out the map plan for it. Tell me the equipment I need. Tell me the formula I need. What systems do I use to do it? What's the optimal frequency for distribution? Like it'll fucking map out a plan for you.
You ask the AI, how do I satisfy?
Hey Gemini, how do I satisfy you?
Yeah. Hey, demonic overlord in the machine, how do I service thee, my master? And then it will say, yes, my minion.
Optimize for revenue growth, optimize for user growth.
Do this, and do that. But like, I don't know, maybe advertising on Spotify, like that might be it. Because if you want Spotify juice, then you can directly advertise on Spotify.
But is Spotify even the best one? I mean, like, what's their payout rate compared to other platforms? Like
I don't even know how Spotify pays out for podcasts.
I think it pays out like shit, because every musician.
I know the musician industry, or music industry.
Like, I mean,
they pay nothing.
Like we can make money on Substack, but then I got to charge our subscribers a monthly fee.
Yeah,
which I don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
No, but I mean, like, could you translate it into YouTube? Maybe not necessarily have video, but have static images that rotate through, or like.
Yeah, and that's some of the stuff that we've talked about. Like, we've got our first 8 or 10 podcasts are up on YouTube now, just with the logo and then the audio in the background kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But is there an AI tool that could randomly throw up images that are related to the content of what we're talking about?
Oh, 100%.
There absolutely is, right? And then optimize that for viewership gains, create the thumbnails that would be most attractive to, getting clicks. Like, there's so much leveraging of AI.
They need the clickbait titles and all the fuck. I don't know. I'm too old school for
fucking boomer.
Yeah, fuck.
Well, and in a way, I don't.
Gen X fucking. I love technology, but I hate it at the same time.
Yeah, my pineal gland fucking calcified a long time ago,
like a rock. Good old,
But yeah, it's a weird thing, because that's the thing. It's like, well, how do you grow? How do you do all this stuff? And it's nobody really knows. Like, I don't know. I was like talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and he's like, he does art stuff, and he's retarded fucking successful. Yeah. And he's like, I got like no followers. He's like, I got like 9,000 people or something on Instagram, which is nothing. It's like you're a zilch. Yeah. If you have that, like, it's nothing, right? But at the same time, it's like he's got people with hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers that are like, can you get me a job? Right. Because it doesn't translate to anything. It's like, well, he's like doing shit in the real world.
Yeah.
And, like,
I mean, even Jesus only spoke to crowds of 5,000. So, I mean, he's doing pretty good with 9.
Yeah. But I mean, but this is the thing. Out of 9,000 people, you put a post up and only 30 see it.
Yeah.
And so you get 3 likes.
Yeah. That was a loud truck went by.
Oh wow. That's like...
He really picked it up with the mics.
Yeah. So it's this weird, it's that weird thing where it's like the numbers don't even matter anymore. And do you go broad or go deep? It's like a big audience doesn't mean anything, but a deep audience is good.
I'm almost like, I'm willing to go back old school style, right? Like, I was on a commercial shoot this last week, and I was talking to a guy there that was doing scene with me. Great guy, lots of information. And he kind of helped light that fire under my ass a little bit for getting back in my graphic novel.
Oh, cool.
He's like, he said, Sask Arts has lots of money available. He says, if you need to pay an artist, he says, finish your script, right?
Yeah.
Write it out and then submit it, get the grant funding.
Yeah.
Now you've got cash that you can say, hey, this is what I want to pay to have somebody to illustrate this novel kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
there's a creative Sask.
Yeah.
I mean, they have money.
Yeah. Yeah. There's Creative Sask, there's Sask Arts, there's another one too. Like, so I got his information. I'm like, I'm going to be.
Wait, so you're telling me that the Sask Party hasn't cut all this arts funding yet?
No, it's still there.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
They should.
What Sask Party needs to do is put different people in charge of the money.
That's exactly. Actually, that's exactly.
They should let AI run it.
They should.
No.
They should. Yeah.
They need to get rid of the quote unquote old boys club that's been controlling this stuff for far too many years.
It makes me completely insane.
Yeah, I know. We've had this discussion both on here and offline too. Like, it's so frustrating in Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
to be doing this kind of stuff.
There's amazing. Something's in the water in the Philippines. I don't know. I'll really try to not make an inappropriate joke just based on my natural racism. But hey, like, I dig my Filipinos, all jokes. But anyway, I'm going to give them props now and say there's legitimately something in the water where there's so many good artists in the Philippines.
Oh yeah,
they're so good, and there is something in the water that makes them really fucking talented, and you can find them. And you don't have to pay them as much as you do other people. And like, they're happy to do the work.
And they work their asses off.
And it's like quality work. They appreciate the money. You appreciate the work. It's like, yay, everyone wins. And so, I mean, you can find people like you with $5,000 or $10,000 or something that you get from a grant. Easily you can make a ton of work.
Yeah.
Like you can produce a ton of shit with that easily. And you can find like really talented people for like.
So there's no strings attached to that Sask Arts grant money that has to go to Sask artists?
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I don't know
money to the Philippines.
I don't know the specifics on what the money, but I mean, there's lots of Philippine artists that are living in Saskatchewan. So I mean, they're Saskatchewan residents.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like offshoring the money and.
Oh no, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking like find somebody in
overseas.
Like find somebody there because it's like low cost of living and it's like $10 a page versus.
Well, I'm still trying to hope to get enough money from Sask Arts that I can actually convince the original artist to get in on this. But
20. I'm not free in 20.
He doesn't work for Filipino wages.
No, I know he doesn't. Well, that's why I need more money.
It's purely a time issue. I'm fucked. But yeah, no, I think that like there's options there for sure. But yeah, well, no, that's good. You should be working on.
He got me back, and like I know it, and it's just like 30 minutes a day.
That's it.
It's like working out.
What's his name? Game of Thrones guy.
George Martin.
Yes. So I read an excerpt from he had like a sit down with Stephen King.
Okay.
And he's like, how the hell do you write so many fucking books?
I fucking brown bag at like a job and I show up.
Stephen King says, I spend an hour a day writing.
Yeah.
That's it. 1 hour a day.
Oh, wow.
Didn't say it was quality writing, just that he's doing writing.
No, but that's all you need to do, right?
Yeah.
You spend an hour a day in a year.
It's crazy.
There's a novel and a half.
Yeah.
Right? Like
that's the thing. It's just like that whole, hey, I have this thing I want to do. How do I do it? And it's like, just start doing it and like build up the muscle. It's like going to the gym. Like it's really hard to go to the gym, but if you put in the time, you'll get something out of it.
Well, it's interesting about that hour a day. I mean, one of the things I was watching is because I keep getting videos for, how do you handle your ADHD and things like that. And it's literally this guy had said, okay, well, I'm going to tell myself I have to fold one shirt. And then my ADHD kicks in, and okay, I'm going to fold the rest of the
since I'm doing it,
laundry. Yeah.
Right.
So it's that kind of mentality. No, I'm just going to do it for half an hour, and then you're locked in, and it's like, well, then you get a creative streak some days, and boom, next thing you know, you've written for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I'll have days where I may struggle to do that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
The consistency though,
and then I'm going to have other days where I'm going to fucking write for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
If you do anything every day, doesn't matter what it is. If you put in 30 minutes a day on anything, you're going to be really freaking good at that thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I mean, playing guitar.
I was going to say learning the guitar.
Learning a language or working out or writing or anything. Like any interest, you're going to be like next level.
And that was like the discussion I was having with it is like in our brains though, I'm like, 30 minutes, fuck.
Yeah.
But yet you could doom scroll for 30 minutes before.
But you'll sit on the fucking couch for 4 hours in the fucking evening.
That's the
doing
thing.
Nothing.
That's the thing. And it's like all of that time that people are wasting on their phones is time lost when they could be building up a talent. And you're going to have all these kids, like say with young people, you have all these young people where they should be like learning how to play an instrument, sport, whatever, just get good at something, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're getting good at bullshit. And that's a problem because they're going to enter adulthood and it's going to be like, well, what are you good at? What are you into? Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a fucking level 24 paladin. Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about
on a game that's now outdated that nobody gives a shit about.
Nobody gives a shit about a video game or any of that. It's like, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? What are you interested in? And if it's just like nothing, okay, well, you got to start. Like, it's never too late.
Yeah.
But like, you got to start like becoming a human.
Yeah.
And becoming well-rounded. Like, fuck, that's like the whole point.
It's true. Like, I mean, it's one of those things like growing up on a farm in a small town in Saskatchewan, it like you gain so much knowledge. Mm-hmm. Like you can give me a task and I'll fucking figure out how to do it.
Yeah. Right.
That's just how I was raised.
You're going to fix a piece of equipment. You're going to build a chicken shed. You're going to, whatever it happens to be, you're going to figure out how to move a heavy object from one end of the farmyard to the other end of the farmyard using creative fucking levers and sleds and whatever kind of shit because, it's heavy and Dad's got the tractor out.
Yeah. Well, the same thing. Like, until recently, I've never had motorbikes. I've gotten into motorbikes now, right? I got a motorbike in the garage that didn't run. I can fucking ride it down the road now.
Right.
I know nothing about motorbikes. Yeah. I just started taking shit apart, finding what was broken, and fucking fixing it.
Yeah. And it's amazing what YouTube videos will teach you, though, too.
Oh, it is.
But that's
YouTube is good and bad.
Yeah.
Because if you kind of know what you're doing, it can be a great assistance. If you have no fucking clue, it can get you in a lot of trouble.
But say with the writing thing, like Brandon Sanderson, who's like a rock star fantasy writer, he's got like hours and hours of classes on writing and getting and it's like you have access to stuff that was like unfathomable when I was young.
Brandon finished off Wheel of Time, right?
He did finish. Yeah. That was his
the idea of these master classes that are out there for very, very little money, which would have been, a 4-year university degree that would have cost you $50,000.
It's unbelievable. And it's like, holy crap. Like you have all of this, like you have the best people in the world telling you how to do stuff.
Yeah.
What? And I mean, or in podcasts, and you got the best people at the top of their game, just literally sitting down with you and saying, well, this is how you do what I do. And it's like, okay, you're not there yet because you haven't put in enough half hours, but you will, you will get there. And it's just crazy. It's like, I don't know that's why, like, I've never suffered from the addiction of like, phone stuff.
Yeah.
I have suffered from addiction to like Skyrim and Call of Duty, like, headshot dopamine, kill streaks, and
Fallout is what I got too many fucking hours into.
So I mean, those are my guilty things. But like, I don't know. There's so many. We have like this obsession with youth and also like with our jobs where we think like, oh well, if you don't get paid for something, then you're not it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's dumb. Like, so you can't go to the gym because you don't get paid. You know, like it's stupid. It's like, or like, oh, you haven't made $1 gazillion at 22, so you shouldn't learn how to like.
How much money did like fucking Van Gogh make?
Well, exactly.
He died poor,
right?
Yeah,
like
it's like all this stuff. Like we're obsessed with like Kurt Cobain stories and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, it's like, I don't know. You have a whole lifetime, and really, if you get better over time, then like your best stuff that you ever do will be like when you're 70.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck yeah. Like,
well, I mean, look at certain elderly individuals that start up a business at 90 or
82.
Oh, okay. 82. Sorry.
No shit. Like that's cool. Like that's amazing. Like I love that stuff because it's like, there's funny. Just new chapters.
My sister is visiting from Ontario right now. She's just there for work. It's okay. Don't hold it against her. But we went for supper the other night and she's like, I'm having a hard time keeping up with Mom.
right? But I mean, you think about that drive to want to do something productive.
Yeah.
And how that has kept her young.
Yeah.
Oh, like,
for sure.
Like, good for her. Like, that's incredible. Because otherwise, what's going to happen? You're going to sit in an old folks' home and rot away?
Oh, my God.
That is the fucking key.
Yeah.
Anytime you give up on living, like, you're now
done.
The clock is ticking.
You're totally done. Yeah.
Like, you got to keep fucking going.
Yeah. It's like I've had like multiple conversations with people where they're retiring or they have retired. And it's like, I'm like, oh, cool. So what are you going to do? And it's just, I don't know.
I don't want to retire.
I'm gonna drink, I guess, and sit at the lake. And
I don't want to retire so that I have nothing to do.
No shit.
I want to retire so I can do all the shit that I don't have time to do right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Exactly.
Because I got to work to pay my fucking bills.
Yeah. And it's like, wait a second. So you're in your 50s. You've gone your entire life, and you haven't found out what you like to do.
You don't have a hobby.
You don't have a hobby. Fuck. You fucked up.
I wish I only had one hobby.
Yeah, you fucked up so bad. If you hit 50-something and you don't even know what you're interested in, what you like, what your hobbies are, what fucking kind of gets you excited, interests or any... If you haven't figured that out, you fucked up. You got to like look in the mirror and be like, oh my God.
But there's still time. Don't lose hope.
I got to go on a date with myself.
Yeah.
And be like, hey man, what are you all about? Like you got to do like something. You got to do something because it's like...
Yeah. What do you do in your spare time?
Well, I've been going to work, coming home and watching TV for 40 years or 30, whatever it is.
Fuck. I want a 3D model. I want to learn guitar better. I want to play with my fucking RC cars. I want to fucking do carpentry. I want to build motorbikes.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, I have a whole list of things. I want to write my novel. I want to write my fucking short stories. I want to write my fucking short films. Like,
yeah.
Self-sustaining regenerative ag systems.
Oh my God.
Vertical farming type setups. The ideas are endless, but yeah, I had a coworker and she's like, well, I want to retire early. And I was, asked, well, when do you plan on retiring? I was like, well, probably 65, but like, I'll probably keep working and I won't be working here after that. And it's like, well, no, I got to retire when like 50. I'm like, okay, but didn't really have a necessarily concrete plan of like, this is what I want to do with my time. Just knew that you didn't want to be working, for, an industrial type fabrication place at that point. It's like, okay, maybe there's some other ideas that didn't get shared with me, but like to me, you've got to have a purpose and a goal and something that's going to keep driving you forward. Like, I'll probably wake up earlier when I'm retired than I do now. And, it gets started with the day because I'm so excited to do something I'm passionate about.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. It's kind of, it would be, to me, it would just be so alien to hit like an age that's not far off and be like, I just don't know what I'm going to do for the next, it's like, holy shit. Like there's a laundry list a mile long of stuff I want to get to.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's sad. It's like, really, man, like what? I feel like bad, like shit. That's like, you got to lay on a couch for a while. Like you really like, that is like, NPC stuff to the max. And it's like,
or instead of laying on the couch for a while, go through a walk through nature and see what inspires you.
Something. Yeah. Or like get the fuck out of it. Yeah. Like change of scenery, like shake it up a little bit. Go.
I want to hit 1,000 yards sub MOA. Like,
actually that is a goal.
So many things I want to do,
Yeah, but that half hour a day thing is that's a biggie. That's for anything.
Yeah,
and there's this really really great book by this guy named like Steven Pressfield, and it's called something like The War of Art, kind of like Art of War.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's kind of like a bathroom reader type thing. But one of his things is just like go pro, and by like going pro, it just means like do it every day and just show up. Yeah. And like find a part of your house or whatever. Just find a corner of a room and make that corner the place that you go to do that task.
Yeah.
And just treat it like the office and just show up every day. Like put shoes on, like get dressed, like don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like show up. Like
that's actually something I used to do when I worked from home is I would literally get dressed in a dress shirt and dress pants, and I wouldn't put the shoes on because I didn't wear them inside the house.
Yeah.
But I would make sure I'm at my desk at a starting time. Like none of this, wishy-washy, stereotypical work.
Fucking house
like
coat
I was dressed and ready to go at my desk. I treated it like a job within my home.
Yeah. Because it's your job.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you do that with other stuff.
Well, it gets you into the mental framework.
Yeah.
Like now my mind is like, no, you're in go time.
Yeah.
You know, start thinking about your next task is, think about the next call you're going to make, get into that zone of where your mental mind needs to be in order to accomplish those tasks.
Because you take it, you treat it with a certain amount of seriousness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even that, even like you're showing up with a certain kind of seriousness. And you apply that to anything. And it's like, yeah, you level up.
Yeah, the only hardest part is getting the rest of the household if you happen to have kids or wife around. It's like, okay, this is my office now. As much as I am home, I'm not. So
you might need to
the door's closed.
You might have to like put some tape on the floor and like mark off.
Even then, you got pocket doors that are closed, and all of a sudden they're opening up. It's like, we got 2 sets of
little
stairs.
red light. Recording in progress.
Right. Yeah. Whatever works. Yeah, it's interesting stuff though. It's good to do that, to have like some side things too, where it's not just the grind of job and then exhaustion, sleep, repeat.
It's got to be stuff you enjoy.
Tough. Yeah, you got to have something else in there, and maybe even like a side hustle. Maybe something that's like kind of just so different from what you do normally during the day.
And I would even say something that breaks up, you've got your mental type tasks, and then you've got your physical type tasks.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I like having our acreage is that, okay, well, I've got to go haul some pails of water, and I got to move some hay bales, and I got to do some physical shit, because my job consists of me sitting my ass at a computer most of the day.
Yeah.
Right? So it gives me something to, get the body moving. It just stimulates muscles that then stimulate neurons in the brain. So it just, it puts you in a different mind frame and perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I'm the opposite of that, right? I'm working in a physical job all day. So now I want to go home and I need something mentally, right? So spend that half an hour writing my fucking
creative
book, right? Mm-hmm. Get the neurons firing, start using your imagination and creativity.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can either just hand that over to someone else on a screen and say, no, you entertain me.
Yeah.
And there's like a bottomless pit of stuff, you know. I don't know. I've been watching The Righteous Gemstones. It's fucking hilarious. Righteous Gemstones. Anyway, speaking of people entertaining you, it's really funny. It's on HBO. It's really, really good. Anyway, but they're not a sponsor, so fuck them. But
not yet. Well, welcome to money, HBO.
But instead of offloading it to somebody else, make it yourself. And I don't know. I think that just like makes life manageable. And I think like the huge problem in our culture is just having this mono existence of like, no, it's A or B and nothing else. And it's like, okay, that's not how humans are. That sucks. If you only have A or B, you're doomed.
Yeah.
Like you're totally doomed as a civilization.
Yeah. Yeah. We got A and Z and everything fucking in between.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to have that. Yeah. I heard this like really interesting line from a guy. He said something like, you can see the soul of a nation based on what they choose to make expensive.
Interesting.
And I don't know. I haven't really figured that out yet, but I'm kind of chewing on it. And I feel like there's something in there. Like some things are universally expensive, but what do we make expensive in Canada? What do we value? What do we put the highest price on here?
I'd almost challenge that theory.
It's a weird, I don't know.
I'd almost want to challenge that theory in this sense. You can almost judge the soul of a nation by what they've made cheap.
Well, yeah, it could go the other way too.
Right, because you look at U.S. culture, you look at their food system, you look at their entertainment, you look at what they have put the effort in to drive the cost down to get out to the masses, and that is almost a descriptor of what that society has become.
Like a 70-inch TV for like $500.
Or you look at Japanese culture and how they treat food. Somebody was talking about, there's like no fat people in Japan. Obviously, there are some. They got sumo wrestling and things like that. But it's because they literally have nutritionists that have to go for their education degree, and then I think it's like another 3 or 4 years of education, and they teach foods to kids all from kindergarten to grade 12 or whatever their grade system is structured by. And it becomes an absolutely integral part of, this is how you feed your body, this is how you feed your mind. And so that's what they've placed their value on.
Yeah.
And so they've driven that cost of good food nutrition down. Whereas in North America, it's all prepackaged foods, and how could we have preservatives that'll keep the shelf stable for 9 months and all that kind of stuff?
And it's extremely expensive.
No, in Japan they've driven the cost of that stuff down.
No, but I mean,
here it's expensive.
Here it's expensive. Yeah, So I guess it can go like it's a yin yang thing because it's also what's cheap. Because let's say Christmas markets, Christmas market in Vancouver is walled off to the public, and you've got to, you're not even allowed to look inside because it's all walled off, and you've got to spend $20 to get in and book a time. And then you have the pleasure of going into the Christmas market, which is so anti-Christmas market, whereas everywhere else in the world, it's free.
Yeah.
It's free, and because, we just want,
I never understood why trade shows charge people
yeah, exactly. Come in. Yeah.
You're making your money for your venue on your vendors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you charging the public to come in and spend money?
You're creating a barrier.
You're creating a barrier. And you're like, so you have a family of 4.
Yeah.
And they got to spend $80 to get in the door.
Yeah. They're $80, $100 just to get in the door.
Yeah. And they haven't even had a hot chocolate yet.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's that kind of thing. So, yeah, maybe it's that's the other thing too. Like, you can go see the Berlin Philharmonic for $6, and it's like the greatest orchestra, one of the greatest orchestras in the world, for like $6.
Yeah.
On like during the day, or go to like insane museums for like $5 or even free.
Yeah.
And it's dirt cheap. Whereas that shit is so unobtainium here, where if you want to go and like see the orchestra, or go see this stuff, like you want to go see opera in Toronto and it's $200 a ticket, it's this crazy stuff. And it's like, well, now it's inaccessible to everybody. And yeah,
I will say this. Like, I do think the Regina Symphony Orchestra has done a better job of marketing themselves to be more accessible. Like, they literally have radio ads that say, hey, it's okay to come here and wear jeans.
Yeah.
And, bring out the family. And they've tried to take away that sophisticated element that was maybe a barrier to some people for attending. Yeah, now, I'm not saying they need to completely downplay it and make it redneck, because they're not. It's still the pure music and the artists that are doing their very talented craft, but they've sort of taken away that stigma away of that you have to be a wealthy, affluent, upper crust individual in order to attend and witness good music.
Which is totally insane, because where did that come from? Where did this idea that this is an upper class thing come from? Some weird television idea. It's not reality at all. It's some goofy thing that they saw in a movie, and then they all went artsy fartsy, eh? And it's like, what are you talking about? Oh, you got it. Like it became this like a weird. It turned into like some elitist thing based off like, I don't know, 80s movies. Like, it's not even real. It's like, it's a weird.
It was like gatekept to some degree.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and it's like, well, no, it's for these people, not for these people, and it's like.
Well, one of the things I love is that my wife and I can share, a love of classical music. So, what kind of music do we play most in the home? Yeah, okay, we'll throw in some classic rock and stuff like that. My dad's over. But if I'm just listening to background music, it's classical music.
Yeah.
And it just, because to me, I can have that as background music. And it's not because it's some artsy-fartsy stimulated upper crust bullshit. It's because that's what I like listening to in the background.
Yeah, that's what my dogs like to listen to. Yeah.
Well, they got great taste. So, just bark too much, but they got great taste.
Just thinking about new Kanye right now. Have you heard?
No.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. I don't know. Once again, the CIA jumped in, shut down my pod tracks for some strange reason. We weren't even talking about weird shit this time.
Well, Kanye
is a little weird. But
I did bring up new Kanye, but maybe they did hear, and maybe they really are that powerful that they can turn off your
even when we're completely offline, not even connected to the fucking internet.
I just felt like making an inappropriate Kanye reference because he put a new song out. And he's really doubling down on his current journey. And if you can find it,
what's his journey about?
He's going hard in the paint on the small hats. He's going really, really hard on them, and it's like.
And I don't think you're talking about fezzes.
No, it's kind of funny. It's kind of weird to see in a really strange. Cultural...
Like Mel Gibson type rants, or not quite?
Oh my God, no! That's like nothing compared to.
Oh, are you seriously? Self-described Nazi rapper Kanye West releases new song titled "Heil Hitler."
No, what? That's what I was saying. Like,
oh my God!
It's actually okay. Pretty good song, wow. I gotta say. Better than his more recent. Like, it's one of his better things lately. But at the same time, don't think it's going to get that much play. I don't think it's going to. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird.
The algorithm's probably not going to pick that one up.
Did you see the new album title?
Nope.
The album is called Cuck.
Is that a Will Smith reference? Or?
Wow.
Yep.
Oh. Ouch.
It's a weird world we're in. Yeah, so it's kind of a funny thing to see. So I think you can see it on Twitter and or X at the moment. But it's pretty. It's one of those things where it's like, well, it's like this thing of cancel culture, and then you just have this dude who's like, well, I'm going to go
off the deep end and run
completely as far as you can go to like an extreme and just throw it all in your face and just be like, yo, I'm a motherfucking genius. And it's like, I don't know about that. Maybe you're just like,
maybe you've just drank too much fucking
grape drank.
Yeah.
Maybe you're off your meds. It's a really like, it's an odd thing to do. I don't think it's helping anything.
And it's not even like a Dave Chappelle thing where, they claimed he went crazy because he turned down that, multi-million-dollar, deal. And really it was like, no, he wanted to control because he was making him hundreds of millions and he was going to get signed for like 40 million. And by the time he got off the plane, he was deemed crazy.
Yeah.
This is Kanye taking that step himself.
Well, did you hear about his, during the Super Bowl game? Did you hear about his prank that he did during that? Okay. So Kanye West, and by the way, disavow everything that this Kanye West guy's about, just in case.
Just saying.
But yeah, he did this prank where he, prank in quotes, he bought airtime for an ad on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so it was him in a dentist chair getting his teeth, his platinum, whatever.
His grill.
He's got, I don't know, fuck it. Tried so
hard
to be, tried so hard to not say anything. But he's got like he's in a dentist chair and he's doing his thing and he's like, yeah, so football, anyway, something, blah, blah, blah. He leads everybody on, which is kind of smart. He leads everybody on like just with some nonsense bullshit. And then it flips to a URL on the screen. And if you went to that URL at that moment before it got shut down,
okay,
he was selling t-shirts and the t-shirts all had a very specific symbol on them. A spicy symbol that you're not allowed. That's a hate. That's not, you're
like a symbol that was
like a symbol that gets etched onto Tesla cars.
Big in Japan. Still big in Japan, but you're not allowed to.
Oh, the mirror image of it, you mean?
Right, yeah. So this very specific symbol, he had t-shirts with this thing on it, and it was like kind of ha ha ha.
Like you might want to call it a pinwheel, for example.
Yeah, okay. A thing an ancient European symbol.
Gotcha.
Which unfortunately you can't use anymore. But he had this symbol on these shirts, and it's like, dude, like I don't know what the point of it is other than because it's so
like, is he edgy, just trying to be edgy for the sake of being edgy?
I don't know.
I don't know if he's smart or just really fucking stupid.
I don't know. Yeah, because the thing is, it's like the mass majority has no relationship. Like the only relationship they have to these things is an ugliness.
Yeah,
all around. So what you're doing is you're being like, I am ugliness. Look at me, I'm being ugly, and that isn't gonna. You get more. What is it? Something bees with honey.
More flies with honey.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're kind of just being ugly, and I don't know what the point of that is. So
yeah, I don't like. I'm just looking at this one article here about his song, and he raps. Now I'm just quoting the song here. Don't take this personally.
Hey algorithm,
niggas be acting like faggots so much. I think they might be Drake. A little harsh. They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. All my niggas, Nazis, nigga, hail Hitler.
So
wow.
Poetry.
Poetry. Pure poetry.
Yeah. So this podcast is not going to make it to the algorithm. But.
Speaking of the education system.
We're not on the algorithm anyways.
I've always thought that Kanye is like a perfect example of like a failed education system. It's like, there's that one song that he has called Black Skinhead. Actually, maybe that was a fucking
precursor.
That was a sign. Yeah.
That could be.
Actually, it's good. It's a
maybe
good song.
He's smarter than we think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But
he's like, he says something like, he's like, my N-words going 300 like the Romans. And he's referencing 300.
Yeah.
Like the Spartans, but he's calling them Romans.
But that was Greek.
And it's like, oh, poor Kanye.
So close.
Yeah, so close to trying to sound smart, but just still kind of just fucking having.
Would you have remembered that quote if you would have said Greeks?
No, because Romans rhymed. That's
right.
That's
So
why,
like maybe that was again the thought process. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but
he's got some good shit, man. I don't know. There's some stuff like I'm not a like I don't think he's I'm the greatest artist of all time. Like no, man. But you do have some good songs for sure.
So this sparked a little thought process. I was watching a thing on the Mandela effect, and this lady was talking about how her Mandela effect was that there was 52 states. And I'm like, it's not a Mandela effect. You're just fucking stupid.
Could be.
Very possible.
Or, like, because the big thing was like, well, there's 50 states on the continental and then 2 Alaska and Hawaii. And it's like, no, there was 48 states. And it's
free shipping to the 48 contiguous states.
If you were going to say there's 52 states, could you have named them if you thought that was your process? So what are these 2 other mythical states that you thought, like, I don't think this person could have named 10 states, never mind 52 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I think that thing going back to the whole like confusion, disinfo, not agreeing on reality. I think the Mandela effect thing, whatever it is, it could just be part of that. It could be about, how they do these experiments with different cities, putting stuff in the water supply. They're doing that with the Mandela effect where they're just planting seeds of this stuff out there saying, hey, it's this, not this. Just to see the effect.
It's mass testing. Confusion. Mass testing.
I think a lot of it is gaslighting the population in general.
On reality itself.
Yeah.
So it's like we can get you to disagree on reality. If you can't even agree on reality, then we got you.
Yeah.
This kind of thing. Because nothing is real at this point.
Except it was always Berenstain Bears.
It was always Berenstain.
It was never
And Fruit of the Loom had a fucking cornucopia.
It was what?
And Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason I know the word.
Yeah. There's so much of that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I think it's, man, I probably brought this up before at some point. I just, to me, it's like so perfect. It's this, there was a guy in Russia that Putin worked with. Oh, that Putin, eh? This guy, he was like an avant-garde modernist art guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, his whole thing is like Putin worked with him to be like, okay, let's bring it. Let's like psychologically basically kind of warp the population. So what this guy would do, he came from like, weirdo art world. He's like, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to fund anti-Putin organizations. We're going to create anti-Putin organizations. We're going to create pro-Putin organizations, and we're going to pit them against each other. And we're going to stage, there's going to be like conflicts where you've got people with strange flags that make no sense. Yeah. So people are just like, what is this? They're going to like stage events that take place that are like, they're not even real. But like creating a theater and a completely insane,
but at a societal level.
Yeah, creating a theater at a societal level that's so confusing and disorienting that nobody even knows what happens. But the key thing that he did is after doing this for like, I wish I knew this guy's name. It's something of.
surprise!
Oh. Yeah, but after all of this, the key masterstroke after doing all of this was he then went out and publicly and told the public that this was being done to them. And that was like the vital thing. The vital thing wasn't like pretending that the state wasn't doing it. The point was then to tell them that this is actually happening all the time. And so now the public is totally aware that everything they see
is curated.
Could be bullshit.
Could be curated. Could
Question
be bullshit.
Everything.
Yeah. And so now it's like the government admitting nothing is real. It's all theater.
Kind of the opposite of the U.S., where they're using people like Bob Lazar to, inflate the UFO thing,
right?
When it's not actually like it's all bullshit.
Yeah, where'd all the UFOs go?
Yeah,
like I mean that. Yeah, everyone's got a phone now.
Yeah, the CIA hired these guys to spread misinformation. And
cover stories for
just to make it seem more unlikely that this was true, right?
Yeah,
hide it by making it look fake.
Yeah, so I mean. If that was happening, it's like, oh, okay, Russia, look what they do. And it's like, yeah, but that happens everywhere. So it's like you have these fake videos of like, say, Mark Carney saying stuff that gets people riled up.
Yeah.
50-50 chance that was put out by his team.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be like, yeah, we're going to poison the well of reality.
We're going to make conservatives look bad as if they created it. And,
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like showing up at a rally with a Nazi flag.
Yeah.
Like, which is what happened at the
trucker protest.
The trucker thing. It's like, well, okay. And then that guy was associated with Trudeau. So like the guy who shows up with this poisonous thing is on the other team, but he's there to poison the well for the entire thing. And so, regular Joe sees that.
It's funny how we got all these protests in Ottawa right now outside of the capital with, all the Palestinian flags and everything like that. But there hasn't been a state of emergency declared yet.
It's because they didn't have horns.
Oh, right. They're not honking.
The horns were the evilest thing
They're
ever.
not honking. And no bouncy castles.
Yeah, no pancakes. Yeah. Maybe there's pancakes. I don't know.
Right.
Or if you watch those Antifa rallies and stuff that they do where they just go down a street and just destroy everything in sight.
Yeah.
With the pre-delivered pallets of bricks.
Yep. That's totally fine.
Hey, because that truck broke down. They had to unload the truck so they could tow it.
The day before or the night before parade day. Yes.
Yeah. It was an unfortunate coincidence.
Nothing suspicious about that. Yeah. It's
at all these organized rallies across various states of the U.S.
Yeah. So
more than one truck can break down.
So if you can't agree on reality, then how can you debate anything?
Yeah.
And how can you challenge authority because you can't even get your own shit together at the grassroots level?
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't organize, and you'll always be fragmented because you'll have people where it's like it happens on the left too. Like they're doing it with the left, like say with the Palestinian stuff.
Yeah.
Because all of these lefty socialist type people, all of a sudden they got to fucking be interested in Middle Eastern horse shit. And it's like, okay, well, I'm a greenie that's all about the environment, but I got to wrap myself in that stupid fucking stuff.
And
I think the best thing I saw was the Gays for Palestine.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, I just don't understand how you can have the left-wing movement support a religion that is so antithetical to their beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even close. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But yet somehow they've, been adopted by that group because they're, a visible minority and,
Well, the newest struggle that the left-wing purple hairs are going to have is, do you put the Pakistani flag or the India flag on your profile?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
what do you...
Which underdog you pick?
Which one? Which one?
Yeah. Poo-poo or pee-pee? Yeah. Correct answer. Who gives a shit? I don't know. like that's the thing.
Well, they both got nukes, so I'm slightly concerned, but
Yeah.
It's a long ways away.
I don't know. The thing that's weird about the whole, religion of peace thing is that it's like this one, like we have blasphemy laws now basically all over the West.
Yeah.
Where if you mention anything about how, if you criticize it, you're in shit.
Well, you look at the UK, like they've gone completely overboard.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name? It's not his real name, but Tony Robinson. Anyways, like he basically wanted to highlight a grooming trial, and so was doing reporting on it, and yet now the guy's locked up in jail.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's more to that story, and there's both sides and all this kind of bullshit. But at the end of the day, like you have people that are grooming to be raping children, and you want to report on it. But if you mention the fact of what religion they are, now you're going to jail.
Oh, that's
And I can make fun of any I kind of get a kick out of religion. I kind of get like some of them. I don't know. I think they're kind of fun. And that one in particular, holy shit, there's a lot to make fun of. I would never do that because
don't draw a cartoon.
No, it's a magical
Charlie Hebdo.
It's a magical thing, and it's the one
might up our listeners though.
I would never criticize just how fucking retarded it might be. Thankfully, I don't think that. Like, I mean,
it's a good thing you're an open-minded individual.
Yeah. Although it's. I mean, see, what do you even say? I'm self-censoring.
You're self-censoring, right? Like you're in a room in a community that is nowhere near any of those individuals, and yet we're self-censored.
Because you can, the long reach of everything.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And, let's just say that I've been reading the Quran and I fucking, I'm, I mean, I have read it. I got, it's like, let's see what's in here. Let's check it out. And like, Jesus Christ, I can see why there's
in there.
Well, no, but a lot of the crossover. There's a crossover going on. Like if it was a Marvel movie, you'd cross over the characters for sure.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, one is very like it's not like a happy read. Let's just say that it's not a happy read. There's a lot of, for instance, there's no words like in the Bible. There's no they don't have disparaging words for non-Christians. Like there's nothing like, oh, non-Christians are animals and need to be gotten rid of. You do have that in the Jewish religion and in
go to the Old Testament. There's some stuff in there, but
but there's nothing like, there's no like, if you don't dig our thing, you got to go. That isn't really in, but it's in that. And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of like particular ways that they got to go.
There's a whole legal system set up on it.
And
the jizya tax, for example.
And it's like, hey, here's the legal structure. Here's how you do it. Like it's a very like spicy.
And here's how you treat those individuals if they're in your country. If you're in their country and you're still the minority, this is how you treat them. Once you become the majority, this is how you change your tune.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's all written.
It's all out. It's like it's a plan of attack. And yikes! Actually, I watched. Speaking of the Pope. Just nobody brought up the Pope.
Leo the 14th.
Yeah. I watched a movie actually last night, which might be like kind of spicy to Catholics, but called Conclave.
So apparently he watched it.
Oh, okay.
In order to prep for the conclave.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I really liked it. I can see how like there was let's just say the last half hour. I get it. I get why I get it, but the performances are great, and like there's some really interesting things in there, and it's an interesting window if it's accurate into that world. It's really kind of interesting.
I mean, my assumption, I have not seen it, but my assumption is that it probably plays on a lot of factual elements and then creates a narrative out of it that actually is a narrative that's not necessarily related to the Catholic Church.
Right,
but it's played off of, I'm sure, a plethora of foundational elements, and there's 2,000 years of history there you can pull from.
Yeah. There's a lot of like, I really like the you can tell there was like kind of a certain attention to detail to the ritualism of the whole thing. And
there's a lot of source material when it comes to that kind of stuff. You can be nerd level into it in order to get the details right.
Yeah. And it's quite cool. And, you have this backdrop. It looks like it was shot at the Vatican. But yeah, just this kind of this strange world that nobody gets a glimpse into. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that was interesting in the movie was there was basically the tone of it was, okay, the church can go in two directions right now. And you had old school, basically Italians, traditionalists who are they're traditionalists. They want to preserve
guardians of the secrets, so to speak, and of the traditions and the rituals.
Yeah. Conservative, and they're like, we need to maintain this thing. And then you've got another faction in the church, which is like, no, we have to do everything in our power to be liberal, basically, and do all that stuff that comes with. And so it's this whole back and forth, basically, where nobody's good. Even the liberal, like you think, okay, well, they're going to paint the liberals as these good people. No, they're pieces of shit. And then they paint the conservative people as like the bad
evil
guys.
Pieces of shit.
But it's like, well, no, they make some pretty fucking good points. And the backdrop in the movie, one of the secondary tension building kind of device that they have is they're in this conclave, so they're not allowed to know what's going on in the world, right? They're shut off from the world. But there's something happening where they're hearing explosions. And at one moment in the movie, there's an explosion that takes place. Really, really well done. It's a terrorist attack. And it's like, this is the world that we're fucking living in now. Mm-hmm. You want to be soft and embrace this shit. In their countries, they kill us.
Yeah.
Why? Like, you know what I mean? Look at the reality of what's happening. And you're like, that guy makes some good points, and then it's like, well, wait, we got to have the liberal thing because we all know how it's going to end.
Well, yeah.
So of course it then goes in that direction, but up until it sort of loses the balance, it's quite good. But it does eventually, of course, lose the balance and then go into exactly what you think it will, because it's Hollywood at the end of the day.
Yeah. So
it does go into that thing. But before that, it's quite interesting. And like Ralph Fiennes is in it, and he's fucking awesome. So yeah, it's worth seeing, even if you're like ideologically opposed to something.
Yeah. One of the things that I was super interesting about this latest conclave was how so many traditional Catholics were rallying around Cardinal Sarah from Africa because he is, you might consider, based in terms of the Catholic religion. So a true traditionalist. But here you have what are supposed to be, racist white Catholics that are literally all hoping for a very dark black-skinned African, but it's because they're looking at the content of his character and not the color of his skin. So it's interesting to see that they were almost hoping for that more than an American Pope, so to speak.
They parallel that exactly in the movie.
Yeah. Well, I think they based that off of current cardinals. Like, they did a lot of research, I think, when they did that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite interesting in these little, it's also like, it's a movie. It's a story, right?
Yeah. So there's a narrative in there that, that somebody's, it's for entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all played up, but there's some stuff in there where you're like, okay, I could see this. Like, say the Pope who recently dies in the movie, coincidentally, is a lefty kind of guy, a very liberal sort of character. He dies. But he's put himself in a position where he's already organized the successors based on his appointments and this kind of thing. So he's already, like, kind of from the grave, he's sort of able to
control what's
the future.
Well, and I think 2/3 of the majority of the most recent appointees, because you can only vote as a cardinal if you're under a certain age. And of those that are under that certain age, Pope Francis appointed more than 2/3 of them.
Right. So
that like factual element is coming out from that movie.
And it's kind of interesting because it's like, okay, there's it's overlaid with this thing and it's interesting, but of course it goes into,
and so some might say that a Pope that spent a lot of time in Peru, so another Latin American country, might have been, sort of handpicked by Pope Francis.
Or like in the movie, a Mexican person who spent a lot of time in Kabul.
Oh, okay. So I haven't seen the movie, but
not to spoil it. I just liked it. I just liked it. It's on. I don't know. Actually,
it's on Netflix, I think, isn't it? Or Amazon, maybe.
I think it's Amazon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's worth watching just for the aesthetics of it, and performances are good. But you might be like, okay, fuck. Yeah. By the end, you're going to be like, you'd maybe throw some popcorn at the screen.
Say a few Hail Mary. Yeah, but anyways, it's at the end of the day, the conclave is guided by the Holy Spirit. So there's a rhyme and a reason. Who knows God's plan when it comes to this kind of thing. Maybe they picked a very liberal Pope the last time around to really invigorate those traditional Catholics, to make them deeper in their faith. Who knows what the reason might have been? Right?
So was this like the fastest choosing?
No, I think it was.
Because wasn't this like the second vote or something?
No, it was the 4th or 5th.
Oh, okay.
4th, I think.
Because I saw one where they had the black smoke, and then the next one, I'm like, they picked the Pope, and I'm like,
I think it was it was number 4 or number 5. It was on the second day, so probably number 4.
So it was still the second day.
Yeah, it was the end of this.
Okay, and we're back again. I don't know what's going on with our recording system, but it keeps dropping out. So anyways, you were talking about the longest choosing was like 3 years?
Yeah, so on average, they've been taking about 3 days. It's kind of, they kind of get things figured out. But they vote twice a day, and the longest one, I think, was 3 years. Now, I'm not sure if they voted every single day over that 3-year period, because that would be a shitload of paper.
And they're locked away for that process, aren't they?
They're locked away. They go into the papal apartments, and so they live like in the Vatican City when they're doing this.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So it did happen, I would say, very quickly. But again, that comes down to, who did the appointing of the people that were able to vote.
Yeah.
So there's generally a sense of direction of where they wanted to go. I don't think there was a whole ton of necessarily front runners. I mean, you mentioned Pizzaballa. There was Father Sarah.
Pizzaballa.
So that goes to more the traditional Italian type methodology. You've got, geographic, just, to all the Catholics out in Africa. But surprisingly, a huge, consortium of Western nations were, sort of hoping for Cardinal Sarah. But again, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a process that's ultimately guided by the Holy Spirit. It's there for a reason. Who knows what the longer term game plan is? But so now we have new Pope Leo XIV.
Well, they just picked an American because they were trying to please Trump.
Well, and he did.
Or they wanted an adversary that could stand up against him, who previously voted Republican. But
I have no dog in the whole or whatever.
Dog in the fight.
Yeah, but I do think there's something like when I think Vatican and popes, I feel like it should be led by somebody who's from the leftovers of the Holy Roman Empire in Europe. I think that the Pope should be led by either an Italian, a French person, or a German person.
It should be direct bloodline.
Almost bloodline. I think it should be led by somebody that's just maybe I'm more of a traditionalist Catholic than you, but I legit think that it should be like it should carry on the tradition of being from the empire.
Pure blood.
So speaking of like bloodlines, that's actually one of the reasons why priests are no longer allowed to marry. It's that bishops were having children, because at that point they could still get married, and then they were appointing the next bishop would be like one of their offspring.
Yeah.
And so the church was trying to root out that, and so that's where now priests can't get married so that they don't have offspring. Yeah, they then appoint to be bishops.
Bring that back. Bring it back. Allow them to appoint their offspring. It's totally fine. Yeah.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Yeah. Bring back good breeding. I don't know. I'm all for it.
Good Catholic breeding.
Well, pure blood breeding.
At the papacy level.
What would you rather have? Would you rather have a, well, that's a whole, see, we don't know.
Don't get into that.
We don't have enough time left to get into whether or not we should reinstate monarchies or not. But yeah.
Well, thankfully we live under one right now.
Well, at least with the monarchy, we could have an uprising and overthrow them.
Well, at least you know who you have to kill.
I mean, if we have an uprising,
yeah. Now, if it was in Canada and it was Trudeau around, I mean, he wasn't the one pulling the strings, so
no,
it wouldn't have done any good to go after him.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we're going to return to that though. I think that we'll fast forward 30 years and Barron Trump will be running America. Actually, probably shorter than that. It'll be 20 years because he's the.
Are we gonna mean like the?
Is he gonna be old enough? Because they'd be 45.
It'll change. Doesn't matter. He'll be the emperor of the.
They'll write their own rules.
Yeah, the Imperium of Man will be run by Barron Trump or
wasn't that preordained in a book?
Or young Schwarzenegger.
The Barron Trump thing, was that it was written in a book I don't know, 50 years ago or something?
Yeah, with a character called Elon.
Longer than that, I think.
Was it longer than that? I don't know. I just knew that maybe it was 100 years ago, I guess. I don't know.
His father lived in a tower and he had a buddy named Elon. Mm-hmm. Very strange.
Yeah.
Pretty strange.
It's almost like it was written.
Yep. Yeah. Who knows? Or the young Schwarzenegger's kid, the son.
It's like the developers left hints in the code and we're just kind of deciphering them now.
I think people are secretly begging for an aristocracy to take over. And it's either going to be a technocracy or we're going to get one either way.
I'm just waiting for somebody to turn off the switch on the simulation. I'm just fucking done with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe that's the end game.
I think we're going to end up in a Terminator type world with AI. Right, I don't think you're going to need actual physical Terminators because they'll be able to control everything just with shut off the electrical grid.
Have you seen the shit DARPA's making?
Those crazy like 4-legged dog things that can run on any terrain. You mount a gun to their back, and it was like
I had a fucking reel show up.
But you'll be able to buy your own.
Talking about our doom scrolling, yeah, I saw you can buy your own now for like $18,000 or something too. Like they're cheap.
Buy your own killer robot.
Yeah, well, Canadian Prepper had one on his. Podcast or television or whatever you're gonna call it, his videos.
Yeah.
And he was basically testing one of these like quadruped dog things, and he was like taking it everywhere. And like they're not perfected yet, but that's the technology at the consumer retail level that's now available.
The video I just saw a couple nights ago was how to protect yourself against a swarm of these robots when they come into your neighborhood to fucking search you out.
Yeah.
And like it was like full like not Fallout animation, but like that late 80s, early 90s type animation, like with the stick figures and stuff. And the dog walking down the street, like how to recognize if it's a single or if it's a swarm and ways to disable them.
Yeah.
Wrangler Star does a little prep video on that, and it's talking about like black paint with sand and some oil mixed in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To cover optical sensors. But I'm like, most of their sensors don't even need optics. Like they have LiDAR, they have, infrared sensors or ultrasonic sensors.
Yeah, they're typically all tied together though, right? They need to work in conjunction with each other to
but you throw enough AI power at that and it'll, it's like covering your eyes and still being able to feel your way around a room. And
this is why our government banned the 50 cals.
Yeah, because it's one of the few things that'll penetrate.
Exactly.
Like all future warfare is going to be drones.
I mean, we may or may not have some green tips kicking around somewhere, but
even in Ukraine and all like every war zone that's going on right now, it's drones.
Yeah, India, Pakistan, the drones are a big thing right now
it's
too.
It's drones, yeah. It's not like, I heard they had like some crazy air battle, which is kind of interesting. It's probably going to be the last dogfight in history.
Well, allegedly, but yeah.
It's because it's kind of they're using like they're like a generation or two behind where we are. Like, well, I say we like we're fucking
Western
North America.
Yeah, we're at a zero. It's actually like other countries that make shit.
Yeah,
we don't.
Well, even that got brought up at the Mark Carney and Trump meeting the other day. You know, Trump's basically like, yeah, we're still going to throw the tariffs on you. You're still fucking nothing. Yeah, but we're still going to protect you. Yeah, no questions asked.
Oh, but we still love you.
We'll be friends.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to charge the shit out of you. We're going to do what we want economically with you, but we're still going to protect you. It's like, that is a weird statement to be making. Like, it's true.
Yeah.
But it's a weird kind of power play dynamic that just came out of that meeting.
I'm still going to rape you, but I'll make sure nobody else rapes you.
Yeah, like, you're my bitch.
Yeah.
Nobody else's.
Yeah, this is just prison. This is...
Yeah.
But when we develop some plane, we'll let you buy some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll let you buy some. You're going to buy some.
You're going to buy some. Yeah. It's like the
and if you don't want the tariffs, you're going to buy this many of them.
Yeah. And see, it's like the F-35 thing.
Until they realize that China has hacked all the software that they're buying chips from to manufacture these planes. So
yeah, the idea, this whole elbows up.
Oh my God! Don't get me started on the elbows up, man.
Fuck, man. The whole thing about like, of course, like just the
fucking chicken dance.
Everything related to hockey and it's like the hockey game. But the fucking boomers love that.
They
shit.
bought into it. That's why they won this fucking election. Was because the media started hyping this fucking elbows up bullshit.
Because it's fucking hockey. And it's like, oh, I love the hockey game, eh? Mike Myers.
Oh.
You know, Mike Whoopsie, fucking creep.
How's his Diddy trial going?
Yeah, he's fucking notorious. Like, everyone who's ever done anything with Mike Myers fucking hates him because he's a total piece of shit. Fucking asshole. That's why you never saw him in anything ever.
That's why he left and went to the U.S. and stayed there.
Well, and why he just dropped out of everything.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared.
Because nobody wants to be around him because he's such a piece of shit. Like, and on top of it, he's probably, I don't know, fucked people. Like young people.
Well, he's at Diddy parties at Epstein and all that.
No shit. I love that he's the first person to get mentioned. Like right out of the gate, like it's like, elbows. Oh, like it's just
elbows deep, baby.
Yeah, elbow deep. Yeah, no kidding.
Go.
Yeah. But that like elbows up thing of like, well, no, go be patriotic, go to Costco and buy this kind of ketchup because 20% of it's made in Canada. And it's like, so go to the American company because we don't have any. Go there and like it's just embarrassing. It's like it should be a huge reality check for Canada. Like shake your fucking head. Mm-hmm. And this is the problem with go full circle back when you have an A or B mono society.
Yeah,
you miss out on all the things in between, like making shit.
I mean, you could support Superstore, a Real Canadian Superstore, which is George Weston's. Which is also the same family that artificially inflated the price of bread for like a decade just to screw over Canadians. But hey, go buy Canadian.
But they are Canadians. So
yes. So go support the company that screwed you over for like a decade.
Yeah. And got taxpayers to buy their fridges.
Yeah.
Because,
And to basically support one of the richest men in Canada.
Yeah.
And if not, in the world.
Yeah.
So.
Totally normal.
Gotta go help your little buddy down the road.
Yeah. Meanwhile, and this is the thing that completely made me livid was like all these people that are like elbows up, eh? You guys were fine shutting down every Canadian business for like months, years during COVID. And now you're going to pretend that you're patriotic after being totally fine with like shutting down everything except for Walmart and Costco.
Yeah. And you're evil if you don't believe in what they said.
Yeah. So you were fine destroying all the Canadian businesses back then. And even last winter, there was no mail service in Canada. So no small businesses could actually mail stuff.
Yep.
And now they're going on strike again, potentially?
They shut down you couldn't mail a letter in Canada during Christmas, and they were okay with it because union strong, eh?
Yeah.
Fuck these people. Fucking go get all your fucking boosters and fucking end it. That's and you look at the age too. You look at like everybody who voted for that, they're all like 60 plus.
Yep.
Everybody younger who maybe wants to buy a house one day, voted for the other side. But it's like old fucking.
And now that you voted me in, boomers, we're going to take all the equity you have in your fucking houses and we're going to tax you on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know you guys want to point the finger at the boomers, but clearly the results of this last election showed that there's a shitload of millennials.
Oh yeah, there is.
That are so far left wing that would take the boosters, that'll do all that shit, that'll have their elbows up. It's it's filtered down at least a generation, if not two.
Yeah. It's just.
It's a higher concentration of the boomers. I will give you that.
Yeah, it's just sad.
The 60 plus, 65 plus was a big portion of it. You look at the Ipsos Street polls, and that was their primary thing: was who's going to protect us, Canada.
Yeah, and I would say the sheep millennials that are following those boomers.
And then the next one down was the 20 to 35 year olds,
because young people are like, Mike Myers, who? Like really?
Yeah. But the problem is the young people now, they're on their fucking phones, right?
Yeah.
So they're just getting fed the same propaganda.
Oh, totally.
That tells them, this is who's going to do it.
Yeah, and I'm still talking like 30 plus. Like I'm talking that 30 to 40-year-old range. There's a lot of millennials in there that are left wing.
No, I disagree with you on that one.
I know too many of them. They're on my Facebook feed. And I see them.
Well, it's because you grew up in Winnipeg. So.
Well, it is. There's too many. I mean, half my family is in that category. So
the conservatives also didn't offer anything remotely positive.
Yes.
Like they didn't. What was the difference between the liberals and the conservatives? Like,
well, especially when the liberals came out of the gate and offered a bunch of policies that were literally out of the conservative playbook.
Well, they took the conservative playbook.
Yeah, the axe, the tax got taken off.
Yeah,
day one of the convention or of the election.
Campaign.
And you need to sell something. You need to sell some kind of future.
Well, and have a positive message of what the future of Canada can become.
Yeah.
Not just we don't want it to be Trudeau or Trudeau 2.0. Okay, well then what do you want it to become?
Yeah. Yeah. And you need to just throw shit out there that's kind of, high speed rail across the country. Yeah, go make it. Mm-hmm. Why not? Every other place can have.
So I was watching something yesterday on Vancouver's extending their light rail transit system. 16 kilometers, and it's like $4.3 billion. So it's $250 million a kilometer.
Yeah, that's insane.
In France, you can build high-speed rail for, I think they were almost rioting because it was $18 million a kilometer instead of the $14 million a kilometer they could do it for in Spain. And people were like, we're spending $4 million more. And then in Canada, we take those numbers, times them by 10, then another fudge factor. It was like, how is it that expensive to build something
over $4 million
Canada?
while we send $300 million to Africa for fucking gender studies.
Yeah.
But so here we're talking about, and I think infrastructure like that, great idea. Having a rail transportation, awesome idea. Why is it costing $4.3 billion?
Yeah, you're fired. Like you're just fired. Like you're like all those people. Like you're done. And
go hire some Chinese engineers if that's what it takes, and reduce the restriction policies. But whatever we're doing, it is not working.
Yeah. And it's this whole thing of like, oh well, no, we got the greatest transit in the world. It's like, and this whole thing of like how everything's the greatest in Canada. It's really it's been 50 years or like ever since World War II, basically, being told that you're the greatest country on earth.
Yeah.
Everything about Canada is the greatest. You're the greatest people. Wherever you go in the world, people throw a parade. It's unbelievable. And it's like this weird brainwashing of like how literally when you, how the world is in awe of how amazing
spoiled rich kid syndrome.
They just like, the only difference is
it's insane.
Outside of North America, they like Canada because we're not American.
It's a pretty low bar.
And even that, it's like this delusional idea that like, it's so strange. It's like, based on what? Well, there was those TV ads back in the 60s, like, why do people think that? Like, why, like, where does this come from? Where does a
couple of UN reports in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think for like a 10-year period there with Chrétien and Paul Martin, we were rated the #1 most livable country in the world. It's like, yeah, okay, that was in the 90s, but like,
or maybe that was kind of a scheme to bump up immigration.
Was it a UN ploy? Right?
Yeah, because, hey, we're going to bring in 1 million people a year. So let's get the word out now that it's it's
a great place to live.
It's the best place in the world to live. And, hey, we're going to take 1 million people a year starting now. Could have been that. Because I don't think I've never gotten a fucking parade going somewhere.
No matter where you've gone in Europe?
No,
really?
I've never
I find that surprising.
Yeah, I've never had anybody drop to their knees and thank me for saving them from Hitler.
Yeah.
This fucking retard shit that people tell themselves. Like
I did get
such horse shit.
You're not American thing in Russia, but I mean that's because they've got longer history going back with the US. So when I was in Russia, I'd be speaking English and they'd be like, oh, like they give me a nasty look and be like, you're American. I'd be like, yeah, Canada. Oh, well, hey, fuck, let's go to a shot of vodka. It's like, oh, okay, great. Like a second ago, you wanted to kick my ass off the marshutka.
No, he's Canadian. You drink.
And then next thing you know, I'm drinking vodka with your grandfather. Like, okay, this is a weird fucking country, but it's kind of fun at the same time.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of that depending on the country you're going to, but again, it wasn't. They never distilled the virtues of why they like me as a Canadian. They were just happy that I wasn't a fucking American.
Yeah. And
so, like, again, that's a pretty low standard of, like,
yeah, well, it's not like because Canada. At least we're not America.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, to me, that's not what I want to be known for.
But that's not a culture.
No.
That's not powerful enough to do anything with. Like, so how are you going to, well, we're going to, and that's, I think, why they got so wrapped up in the Trump thing. Because it's just like, ooh, a good old fight with America, ooh, like,
yeah.
But meanwhile, it's like, yeah, you're not going to make our cars anymore. Well, we have to. Well, why don't you have your own cars? Well, because we're the greatest place in the world, eh? You don't have a car company? No, we don't have that, eh? You can't make a car, right? Okay. Yeah. Biggest auto market in the world is right south of you, a couple hours, and you don't have a car company? Well, that's because of this and this and that. Fuck off. Why don't you have a car company? But on a
free trade basis, I mean, the U.S. and Canadian auto industry is very, very integrated, right? So it's not because of it is because of subsidies, but you can have automakers in Canada if you compete on an open playing field. Right. So what the U.S. is talking about is taking away that open playing field to artificially prop up because they want those jobs in the U.S. Now, I get that GM and Fiat and, well, it's not even an American company. Now it's an Italian company. So the U.S. has one less company. But
I don't know. You've got like you look at like Sweden. Mm-hmm. They make supercars and they've got like a dozen other companies. It's like they have Koenigsegg, and like they have a half a dozen companies. They have a population that's a quarter the size of ours. And they're competing with BMW and everybody else in Europe. And they're like, yeah, we can make stuff. Mm-hmm. They make their own fighter planes. They make tanks. They make IKEA. They make Wicked furniture. They do all kinds of shit. They make all sorts of shit there, even down to Spotify. Like they make like all this stuff. And it's like, meanwhile, like name anything.
Well, I think it goes back to our earlier conversation about how do you evaluate a country based on what they value as cheap or expensive. And in Canada, we've downgraded our manufacturing industry for the vast part to making things that aren't really necessarily innovative or technologically advanced. We've got a few pockets of it here and there. We've got a few scientists that created things like the Canadarm, the Canadarm2, and, specialists of scientific...
50, 60 years ago. They're all dead now.
Well, Canadarm2 went onto the space station, so that's only 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, so there are still pockets of that left, but on the vast majority, it's been a race to the bottom of, we're not developing the highest end technological type products in this country anymore because the companies that do develop it typically move out and go to different jurisdictions that aren't as restrictive, that are able to be better competitive on the world stage.
Well, it's the brain drain, right?
It's the brain drain.
It's take those talented people and pull them to other fucking countries.
And yeah, you're going to chase them away.
Because
or you look at the struggles that like Edison Motor has out in BC. So here there was hundreds of millions of dollars that were thrown towards essentially electrification of vehicles. And so the government picked a whole bunch of companies, gave them hundreds of millions of dollars, and yet you have a company like Edison Motors that's literally trying to electrify industrial type vehicles, trucks, and different pieces of equipment.
Yeah,
they didn't get any money from the government, and yet they're the only successful one that's come out of this. So how shitty is our government at picking winners? They're terrible.
Well, and the same thing, they wanted to open their manufacturing facility in where the fuck
Golden, I think it was.
Was it in Golden
or somewhere there? But and now
they would not give them a permit to build this facility
at a facility that used to make trucks. Crazy. Like it was a building that was meant for industrial manufacturing, and they're like, no, we're going to have our HOA type policies, and we're not going to allow you to build there.
Yeah, we don't think that's.
So they went down the highway and picked another town, and now that town's going to have, I think, one of the best businesses that's going to be growing in Canada for that kind of product.
Edison Trucks is the perfect way to transition to eventually a fully electric vehicle society.
Okay.
Because what they're doing is they're basically taking a locomotive and scaling it down they started with logging trucks.
It's a diesel generator with a battery electric system.
It's a small 4-cylinder diesel generator that powers the batteries, and the batteries power the motor.
Right.
So this diesel generator sits there at idle, doesn't even fucking
At
rev
perfect
up,
peak performance.
and just charges the batteries, and they're fucking hauling logs. They're driving all over the fucking place, right? Uses basically zero fuel.
Yeah, I think they end up using it's like a quarter of the fuel that a regular truck would use. And then you've got all the performance that you would have from an electric vehicle.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, Tesla's knocked it out of the park in terms of what their trucks will do on paper. Supreme amounts of torque and, ultimate performance. So they get the benefits of both worlds. You have no
But
range
you're still
anxiety.
limited by
'cause you could
range.
Yeah,
Whereas
but in
with
terms of the
Edison,
Edison, you have no range anxiety. You've got all this power, and you can literally make these things in Canada. Now, thankfully, the truck market isn't as regulated as the passenger vehicle market, so they're not as hamstrung by the regulations. Still a shitload they got hurdles they got to overcome to
But
get there.
they've still implemented because I looked into it for our work. I'm like, well, fuck, we should maybe get on this bandwagon early, because they're also doing passenger vehicle conversions as well.
Oh, okay.
Right. So you install a small diesel engine, electric motors, battery system, and you swap it into existing trucks. Right. So take your Toyota Camry, and you can maybe not a good example, but you can put these small motors in there and convert your vehicle to basically an electric vehicle that runs on diesel fuel, and just, that generator just fucking idles along.
You should do that with a Hyundai FF. It's all been freshly safetied.
That's true.
It's got everything else is good but the motor.
That's true.
See, why isn't this mainstream hit out there for public consumption?
Because it's still using fossil fuel, so it's bad.
Right, but so is every other vehicle that
I know.
on the road.
I know.
So this is the thing. It's like and this goes back to the thing of I really think that too much of our we've got a structure or it's like one of the Canadian curses of our minds is this thing of the rules, and how you've got these people that are they get a kick out of denying stuff and following the rules and setting up committees. Everything, no matter what the fuck it is here, needs a committee.
Yep.
Fucking everything. And everyone gets
You got a minor fucking T-ball team.
Fuck.
It needs a fucking committee.
I know, I'm on that committee.
Everyone has it's a fucking committee for everything. And this is the thing. This is what happens. Now, okay, take your committee for everything. Every small aspect of your life has a fucking committee for some reason.
Yep.
Okay, now scale that up to the auto industry. And good luck doing now. Good luck doing anything, because even T-ball is going to require approvals and
because
shit
you've always
from
got
a committee.
You've always got people that want power over other people.
But if you have that base layer thing in your society of well, no, it's all get on the committee. It's but this is just like a group of people who want to play Settlers of Catan. Well, no, you need the Settlers of Catan committee. It's can we just not text each other?
100%.
It's fucking retarded. It's why do you need a committee for all this shit?
Look at the bridge in town here.
Right.
That bridge was built most likely by a group of fucking farmers.
Yeah.
Over a couple weekends.
Yeah.
With a lot of beer involved, and it lasted 100 fucking years.
Yeah.
And now we've got to spend over $1 million.
Retarded.
To replace this fucking thing.
And do you A, do you really need to? And B, what a waste of money.
Right?
The amount of money, what that buys, especially in a town like this.
Yeah.
Is so much. But it's this is the thing. All resources go to, it's back to Pucks and Trucks. It's, you know what you do with the bridge? You drive your truck over it.
Yep.
Therefore, priority.
Oddly enough, to get to the pucks.
To get to the pucks. Yeah. So therefore, fuck everything. We have to do it because I can't go around.
Well,
that's too much work.
And I agree. I'll be a fucking Wolzillian, right? It's fucking pain in the ass.
It is.
Doing that extra 30-second fucking drive.
Yeah, it's two.
But 3 turns, yeah.
But it's $1 million saved.
But the point is, it doesn't need to cost $1 million fucking dollars to build that bridge.
Right. Yeah.
You could get, like I said, a group of fucking farmers. They could rebuild that bridge, and it would last another 100 fucking years.
But that's
But again, you talk about committees. You've got engineering road standards. You've got Sask Water Authority. Yep. You've got plumbing protocols because there's a sewer line that's also part of that. That repair process.
Yeah.
So you've got all of these different committee type rule based structures that massively increase the cost of a project like that.
And the thing is, most people, even if they are I'm a freedom oriented person, but at the same time, you do get a boner over the committees. You know what I mean? Everybody gets
true.
Everyone gets a boner. It's like, well, I'm libertarian or whatever. It's like, yeah, but at the heart, it is still like, I'm at whatever part of the hierarchy of the fucking badminton committee, and it's like, you need a committee to play badminton, like you know what I mean? I don't know if you do or not.
I do, and the committee is like Mike.
Wait, okay.
Yeah, so there is, but it's not really a committee. It's like, hey, I'm gonna pool a little bit of money, so if each of you can throw in some money, we'll buy some birdies, and we'll play some badminton, every Friday.
There you go, great.
So that's actually the one bad example because it's like committee.
But
I was just throwing something.
But the thing that happens with that. And that's a great example, right? Because now you have one person that's organizing this. So now it picks up, now it picks up, now it picks up. All of a sudden, you've got like 30 members. Oh, well, now we need a treasurer. Now we need a fucking president. Now we need a vice president. Now we need a fucking secretary. Now, all of a sudden, you've got a fucking committee to play badminton.
As opposed to just pulling a few bucks and buying some birdies.
Exactly.
It's kind of funny because it's like, say, the triathlon thing, just to go with that. Like, the original thought with the triathlon thing was like, oh, it's just a group of people who like say, hey, Saturday morning we go for a walk and let's try to do it. Let's try and set up a time where we just go for a stroll or go for a jog or a hike or something on like every couple weeks. The second Sunday of every whatever in summer, we try to do this. That's cool.
Yeah. You know what? I love you, Vance. And this is entirely your fault. But fuck me. It's like I'm doing it because I like Vance, right? Because Vance wants us to succeed. So I'm involved with this because I want to support him in what he wants to achieve with this. Right. Fuck me, does it piss me off some days? I just want to fucking walk away from it. This was a drunken decision that we made at a fucking Christmas potluck.
Yeah. That
we were going to all fucking run, swim, and fucking ride bikes.
Yeah.
And now we've got sanctioned events. I'm a fucking sanctioned official with Triathlon Saskatchewan now.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And 4 years later, you're still making posters.
Fuck.
But this is, I got to do that. Yeah. But this is the thing. It's like everyone, I think, gets a kick out of the committee or the kind of like the whole, well, it's official now. Like the thing where it's like official. Like I've noticed this with Canadians across the board, like wherever it is, there's people get a real kick of like, oh fuck yeah, we got a sponsor. Like it was the same thing. Like in this little town I lived in, I was on a committee of way too many people to put on a blues festival, and it's cool. It happened, and it was all this, but the energy was all about getting sponsors. And it's like, if we get sponsors, we'll get people to come. And it's like, okay, you got all these sponsors empty.
Yeah,
it's like, focus on just getting people to fucking come in the door, but it's like the thrill of like being official and having an official title and all this stuff. It's like, why should that even matter? Why does that even matter? Like, who cares?
I mean, I will say this about sponsors. So, I mean, the baseball club here in Wolseley, I mean, we literally had $0 to be able to get a sport created for all these kids to be able to go out and play baseball. So we put together a sponsorship package, went to local businesses within the area, like not even just Wolseley, but Indian Head, out to Grenfell. We raised like a shitload of money, and now it's like, oh, great. Now we can have some uniforms, now we can get some new bases, we can get some bats, we can get some balls. We got a little stand, we can store all this stuff in. So in some respects, that committee has been able to create some very positive actions. So now we've got kids that are all like, my son didn't even want to play baseball, and I was like, this is actually pretty fun. And he's throwing a ball around with his sister and the other kids on the field. Yeah. So you can create a positive impact.
Yeah, of course.
But the goal wasn't to go and get sponsors. The goal was to get some sponsors' money, so now we can create this positive impact for kids, so they're not stuck in front of a tablet again, and now they're out. Oh, they're out there a couple days a week playing baseball.
I think a lot of it gets to be like sort of a weird ego thing, and it turns into sort of like a kind of like, a bit of a power trip, because it's like, well, I'm on this, I'm the something. I'm sort of like, I'm running this thing, whatever it is. It's kind of like, I'm kind of running, I'm kind of a big deal around here because I run this shit, this sort of thing. And it's kind of like, okay, great. However, when you scale that up, that's why we don't have any fucking car companies in Canada. That's the problem, is like when you scale all of this, the bridge being insane. Well, that's why, like you said about the rail in BC being completely retarded.
$250 million a kilometer.
If a little bridge over a creek is $1.5 million, Well, yeah, that's
Actually,
why it's
cost
so
per meter, that bridge is probably more expensive than the rail.
Actually, it probably is.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. It's like you scale this up, and it's like, well, how come we're full retard? Like, why? You know, and I think there's something just wrong. I don't know what the solution is, but that's what I personally identify as like a huge problem, just culturally in Canada.
And I think some of it stems back to, I don't want to blame this on engineers, but an engineering type mentality. You engineer it down to a specific level. So when they built that bridge 100 years ago, it's like, okay, we're going to need some big ass pieces of wood, some big ass pieces of lumber. Yeah, like it'll be close enough. Or if we're not quite sure, let's just make the lumber bigger. Now, obviously you want to make sure bridges are engineered properly so that trucks don't fall through them. But sometimes you can overanalyze how you go about designing something. So you're fine tuning it to too much deep level of detail
to death,
as opposed to just fucking throw some shit at it until it's big enough to work.
Yeah.
I watched them move the Banbury House across a bridge made of railroad ties that would have been late 80s, 89.
What bridge did they go across?
They built one.
Oh, okay.
North of our house, down, so they went north of the cemetery, they went out, past the cemetery, out into that pasture field.
Yeah.
And then down into the fucking creek, across the creek, and then back up into the other side of town.
Oh, wow.
They
constructed a bridge just to move that house.
Yeah.
And see, think of the
with railroad ties. It took them a fucking weekend.
And think of the complexity with that, what that is. Moving a house.
That's a fucking house.
It's a house.
A big house.
3 stories.
Yeah.
With brick. With foundation issues and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then it's like, but now you're crippled by, it's like
well, nowadays you'd never move that house.
No.
That house would probably it would get torn down, and you'd have rebuilt. A piece of history that would be forever lost, because now you've got a nursing home there with no historic home, and it wouldn't be a key feature at the edge of this town.
Yeah. Well, it's like you have to destroy every old building because there's no wheelchair ramps. It's this kind of thing. It's like, well, there's no access to this and this doesn't meet code and all this kind of stuff. It's like these people would be fucked if they ever went to any other country. Yeah. Because there's like buildings that are like,
yeah,
like the thing I posted in the chat, it's like that bar's like 1,000 years old. You know what I mean? It's not to code.
Yeah,
but imagine demolishing that because it's not like, you know what I mean? It's completely
I get
insane.
Creating accessibility when you're building something new.
Yeah, and we had that with the bakery, right? We were in a building that was built in 1905, and we had people, you don't have wheelchair access. I'm like, legally, I don't have to have wheelchair access. Anything built prior, and I don't know if this is Canada or Saskatchewan, but for sure in Saskatchewan, anything built prior to 1985 is not legally required to have wheelchair access because it wasn't the standard at that time.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you can get away with it.
Right.
However, there's still these places that cave to the pressure.
Right.
And then they modify or demolish these historic buildings.
Yeah.
Because one person was fucking pissed off.
And it's like, oh, that's smart. It's like all the energy of town, like when you see it, like when you see, like by that I mean like people who come and do a little drive around town on the weekend. Mm-hmm. They go to the river, and then they go around that little open garden area, and they go around where the courthouse is.
Yeah,
a dead building. It's a beautiful building, but it's a dead building. It's the center of activity where everybody comes and instinctively, like moths to the flame, they go to that area, and it's dead.
Yep.
Why? And it's like, you know what $1.5 million would do? Probably get that open again. And you could just move. You could just have a library in there, like a historical type room. You could put a records room in there with a little like public
There's
thing.
A full architectural drawing to convert that building to a fully wheelchair accessible town office with, like you said, a library records room in the basement, town offices up top, council chambers up top, everything like that. But our council at the time that was in place when this thing happened was against it because they didn't like the person that came up with the plans.
So they're retards. So all of those people are retarded people. And you can't say that because it's a small town, but I'm guessing they're retarded. Because think of the damage that does.
Yeah.
Like that destroys energy, and it's one of these things where it's like use it or lose it. And
that is the oldest freestanding courthouse in the province.
Yeah. In Western Canada.
In Western Canada.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful building. You would create energy. You would have it's fuel for vitality and all of this, and it would be the center of town. Basically,
Make that the town office, you've got all that open grass space around there.
Yeah. And have it be a tourist building too, like a little info tourist
have your
thing.
little tourist booth there.
Don't have it
Instead of having it at a gas
a
station.
fucking gas station. So guess what?
Make
they can
people-
pull up and immediately leave.
Make people come into town.
Yeah, it's so backwards. But the thing is, speaking of committees, I joined those committees, and like when I first got here, and it's like, yeah, there's just no point because
I know.
I didn't play volleyball or go to high school with these people, so
Yep.
fuck it. You know, it's that kind of thing because they get a real kick out of their ego is attached to this thing, and it's like they're not really interested in bettering anything. They're interested in satisfying their own ego. And
if it betters themselves,
yeah,
they're all for it.
yeah, and
If it makes them money, all for it.
it's the opposite of what you want in that thing. Like none of them give a shit about the benefit, like the town itself.
No.
It's like, well, did I do this? It's kind of like if it wasn't their idea, they're against it. You know, this kind of thing. And how dare you?
It's the same reason. It's the same reason why our business, it didn't fail, but it was never successful within the town because we were always, towards the end, we were about 60%. But at the beginning, we were like 80% out of town business.
Yeah, that's
Well,
crazy.
how dare you change something? How dare you start something new?
Yeah.
We've never needed that before. Why would we support that?
Well, or just look at how those same products are now thriving in another community just down the highway.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the thing, but that's what happens when you do when you have just, you know, it all goes here, it all goes here to absolutely nothing else. It's like, yeah, it calcifies any adaptation. And it's like, okay, we all like tradition, we all like that stuff, you know, hey, like, you know, keep them in the Holy Roman Empire. I get it. You know, all the, like down with all that, keep the tradition. But at the same time, you know, like, you have to like be able to shift a little bit and add things that are net positives.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
I'm going to start getting bitter because I've had enough ice
there
tea.
we go.
Getting into touchy subjects here. So anyways, we've been yakking at you guys for well over 2 hours.
Oh, Jesus
so
Christ.
it's been a great conversation. Thanks for coming out, Chris. It was always awesome to have you join us.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
Andrew, thanks for showing up.
Absolutely.
Vance, well, I guess you're farming. Tim, well, fuck you, Tim. I'm just kidding. I love you, buddy. Anyways, we'll talk to you guys later.
Over and out.
Bye, Sickle.